Boys, what is good? We're here with a live stream of the 2022 NBA Draft. Live discussion, talking, all those good things. We're going to get into a lot of it here, but I'm going to try to set up this draft on my phone first. I don't know if ESPN Plus will have it live yet, but we'll check. We'll check that because I want to see. I want to watch it live, so we're going to do that. And then after I get out my phone, we're going to talk about it. Okay, they don't have it live yet. That's fine. But let's talk about it. So, there are rumors now that Paolo Banchero is highly in play to go number one. That's a big thing to me. That's something I'm really interested in. But let's talk about this. So, first off, the draft order. The Magic at 1, Thunder at 2. We're going to be updating this board live with every pick, throughout the first round. I'll probably throw up something for the second round too. I don't have that made yet. That won't be quite as nice, but we'll have something for the second round as well, with the first round being the focus. But let's talk about the best players available. So for me, the best player in this draft class has to be Paolo Banchero out of Duke. It just feels like he's easily the best player in this draft class. Like, that's my thought. Because his ability to be a primary scorer. He's the best primary scorer in this draft class. He has the highest chance of being an all-star, and it's being reported now that it feels like there's a good chance that he goes number one to the Orlando Magic, and I think Banchero should. Best scorer, really good playmaker. Yes, he's not the best defender in the world, but again, I think you have to take him into consideration that he is probably the best player in this draft class. Second, I have Jabari Smith Jr., one of the best big men shooter we've ever seen out of college. Really, really impressive. With his ability to shoot the three ball, shoot the mid-range, whether it be catch and shoot, off the dribble. He's really like that. I like Jabari Smith a lot. Should be a top 3 pick. At number 3, I got Chet Holmgren out of Gonzaga. He's that guy to me. I really like Chet Holmgren. Some comparisons to KD I don't think is quite right. Comparisons to Giannis, I don't think that's quite right either. But people are concerned about the weight, which is fair enough. It's fair enough people are concerned about the weight of Chet Holmgren, and I think that's fair. 7 foot, only 195 pounds. There's only 2 players in the NBA that are that tall and that skinny. Also being Aleksej Pokusevski is the second. But Chet Holmgren to me, a guy that can put on a little weight. Kristaps Porzingis, a guy that comes to mind, who was really thin when he came in. Porzingis was not very big when he came in either, so I'm not super concerned about it with Chet. Also, he brings more to the table than Porzingis did. Also, Mr. 81, hello. Glad to see you. Welcome to the stream. But Chet Holmgren, to me, Porzingis was kind of just like, can shoot the 3 ball, can block some shots. That's what Porzingis was going to give you. But on top of that, Chet Holmgren, really good as a passer. Really great kind of floor vision, basketball IQ, all that good stuff. Chet Holmgren really understands everything like that. At number 4, I have Jaden Ivey as the best player available, the 4th best. Do the Kings take him? I think if they stay with the pick, I think they should. He's the best player to me. That makes the most sense. I think Jaden Ivey would be the guy you would take there. But super athletic, comparisons to John Morant, Dwayne Wade. I don't think he is Ja. I think he's his own guy, but I think he's kind of similar to both Dwayne Wade and John Morant. I think you can make the comparison with both of those guys. I think that's fair. I think it is. He's really athletic as a player. Really dynamic, scoring at the rim. Really good as a scorer at the rim, transition scorer. The 3-point shot is developing. I don't think the 3-point shot is bad. I think it's actually getting a lot better. But really improving there. Also, I do have a fan on, so if the audio is weird, just let me know, and I can, fix that. But let me know. At number 5, I have Keegan Murray. Really natural scorer, is like an off-ball guy. Really low-maintenance scorer. Doesn't need the ball in his hands a ton to be a good scorer. But doesn't need a ton drawn up for him. I'm really impressed with Keegan Murray, with his improvement from year 1 to year 2. Kind of learned under Luka Garza, one of the best players in the country in his first year. And in his second year, jumped from like 7 points a game to like 23. The improvement was marked. It was really, really impressive improvement. And I was very happy to see how much he improved. That was big to me. I was really impressed with that. And that's something I'm very proud of to see Keegan Murray do. Really good defender, can guard positions 1 through 4 with ease, block some shots, score some baskets, all that good stuff. Keegan Murray's going to give that to you. But at number 6, I got Benedict Mathurin out of Arizona. Really dynamic scorer of the basketball. Has to develop a little bit, taking defenders one-on-one. He just doesn't really have a ton of that in his game right now. It's kind of more of a spot up, but a good shooter nonetheless. as well as a transition scorer, has a pretty good handle, but attacking the rim, the handle can get kind of loose. I think Jaylen Brown-esque with the handle, but I think Benedict Mathurin really has a high upside offensively, and defensively I think he's improving. I really do think he is. I think his defense is getting better with every day, and I think Benedict Mathurin, although that looked like there were times he took plays off on defense, to me I think he's going to be a good NBA defender. It just feels like that's what Mathurin's going to be. At number 7, I have Dyson Daniels out of the G League Ignite, also Australia. We've seen some good tall Australian guards lately, whether it be Ben Simmons, Josh Giddey, and now Dyson Daniels. A guy that's not great offensively. He's not going to give you a ton on the offensive end, but right now from day one is going to be a really good defender. He's going to be a great defender day one, on top of a really good passer, good rebounder, good scorer, not great scorer, sorry, good passer, good rebounder, great defender, really high basketball IQ as well, and a good athlete. Dyson Daniels comparisons to Marcus Smart, kind of a taller Marcus Smart, as well as Lonzo Ball. So I think that's a guy that's really worth taking a shot on in the mid-lottery, and I think has some pretty high potential. But speaking of potential, number 8, we have Shaedon Sharpe, a guy that played no college basketball. We haven't really seen him play in a year and a half. When he plays in the summer league, that's really the first we're going to see of him. I think he's a candidate to slip, but he could also go really high. Really good athlete, above the rim finisher, on top of being a good three-point shooter, not afraid to stretch the floor. The biggest problem with Sharpe right now is going to be decision making. A lot of times the shots he took, at least in high school, were kind of contested, kind of took some plays off, but I think he can be a good defender. That's probably the biggest concern right now is his defense, because it looked like at times he was disinterested. It was kind of an easy get by, but is a guy that I think can be a good defender, really athletic, on top of being a great finisher and a good shooter. Jalen Duren at 9 for me out of Memphis, a guy that I think is really interesting, really physically imposing, 6'11", 250 pounds, is a guy that's not going to get pushed around, really kind of willed his team to the tournament and held their own against Holmgren and Gonzaga. Memphis almost won that game on the back of Jalen Duren. Really good interior scorer. Hopefully the shot develops, but right now kind of feels like a Clint Capella type, where extreme, a really extreme version. But I think he has some Bam Adebayo aspects. Because of his athleticism, he can guard on the perimeter a little bit. Jalen Duren, not a bad perimeter defender at all, has the ability to guard out there, kind of like Bam does. I don't think he's quite the skilled offensive player that Bam Adebayo is, but I think Jalen Duren on the defensive end, you can see some of the similarities. And then at number 10, I have Johnny Davis, really elite defender on the perimeter, on top of being a great scorer of the basketball. Really averaged 20 points a game at Wisconsin. The team at Wisconsin puts up 40 a game. Wisconsin historically is not a high-scoring program, so for Johnny Davis to be able to come in there and be a really great scorer on a non-scoring team, I think that's huge. On top of being a great perimeter defender, also average 8 rebounds a game as a guard. Really dynamic rebounder, defender, and scorer. I think Johnny Davis has some star potential, and I really like him a lot. Watching from the Philippines. Hey, let's go, bro. I'm glad to see that. Alright, trades that have went down. Let's talk about the couple trades we've seen so far. The Mavs have traded for Christian Wood, which I think is big for them. Getting a big that can rebound, can score. Kind of feels like Kristaps Porzingis, but not as afraid to go in the post. He can space the floor like him. He can rebound. Not as bad defensively. Kristaps Porzingis at times is really bad defensively, but not as much of an injury threat to me, in my opinion. And also, they only gave up 26. They gave up Boban, Trey Burke, Sterling Brown. I think there was another player in there, but to me, it wasn't a ton that they gave up. So I don't really feel bad if I am the Mavs for taking a chance on Christian Wood, a guy that's probably going to be my second best player right now, but there are other moves to be made. For the Blazers, we saw them trade for Jeremy Grant, a 2025 first-round pick to Milwaukee. This feels like bad value for Grant, a guy that averaged over 19 points a game both years in Detroit, on top of being a versatile defender. But to me, for Detroit, the big thing here is clearing up cap space. They want to make a run at DeAndre Ayton. They want to make moves like that. So the thing like that, I think that's big. I think your ability to get cap space, to chase restricted free agents like DeAndre Ayton, like Miles Bridges, I think that freedom is big. The Pistons now have 2 max spots. Some other kind of dexterity trades that I don't have up here at the moment, but there are some other ones as well, where the Cavs traded for, I believe, the 49th pick, and that gives them 4 picks in this year's draft. So I think the Cavs are looking to make another move. They're not going to, use all those 4 picks. I just don't see that happening with the Cavs. So the big thing to me is that they're looking to make a move, maybe DeJounte Murray, as well as the Lakers have traded back into into the second round, back into the draft with pick number 35. They took that from Orlando. So the Lakers as well looking to make some kind of move. But let's talk about some of the top rumors heading into draft night. So many teams are interested in the Kings' number 4 overall pick, whether it be the Knicks, whether it be the Wizards, whether it be the Pistons, the Pacers. There are a lot of teams that want number 4. They want Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey is a guy that a lot of teams want. A lot of teams are looking to trade for Jaden Ivey because he's going to be special, and teams know that. The Thunder reportedly are looking to move into the mid-lottery. They currently have pick 12 on top of the second pick, but they're looking to move back into the lottery, get another young talent. Could use Lou Dort, Kenny Hustle, a lot of future draft assets to do that. The Hawks as well looking to move into the mid-lottery, trying to get a guy to pair with Trae Young, another young star next to Trae Young, and I think John Collins could be the guy that gets moved. It looks like the Hawks are more than willing to trade John Collins. This is the most available I've seen him personally. The Sixers are attaching Matisse Thybulle and pick 23 to try to get an upgrade. There are some rumors about Eric Gordon maybe heading back there, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that? I think the Sixers are interested. And also, it's being reported right now that Paolo Banchero is the front runner to go number 1, who I thought should go number 1 the whole time. Banchero's the best player in this draft, and it looks like he might go number 1. I think Banchero's been number 1 on my big boards for a month. He deserves to go there. It looks like he's going to. I'm super hyped about it because it's such a big change. Do the Thunder still go Chet? What's going to happen there? Do the Rockets go Jabari, Chet? What's going to be there? Do they go Ivy now because maybe they're more interested in Pablo than they were the other two guys? Who knows what's going to happen? There's a lot that could go down, but it looks like the Magic are going to go Paolo, which is a big switch, but to me and a lot of other people on the platform is the best player in this draft class. John Collins is available. We talked about that. The Wolves are gauging interest in D'Lo. It looks like D'Angelo Russell could be moved as soon as tonight or next week, the opening week of July with free agency opening. It looks like D'Lo could be moved then as well. The Hornets reportedly gauging interest in Terry Rozier, a guy that could be moved. Not the best fit alongside LaMelo Ball. I don't think it's super smooth, as well as being a primary scoring guard. I think they want a different fit next to LaMelo. They don't want 2 point guards there. DeJounte Murray reportedly available for a Drew Holiday-like package. He got 3 first-round picks as well as a good guy for a good guy and Eric Bledsoe at the time, who wasn't a bad player at that point. Sorry, I cannot put the split screen of the draft. That's actually not free content. I will get taken down if I do that. Sorry, Lee. But I will give you the picks as soon as they happen. I have a board that will give you the picks, and I will let you know who goes exactly where. But DeJounte Murray available. Key suitors reportedly are the Hawks and the Cavs, both really interested. Hey, Major, it's good to see you, bro. I'm having a good time. But DeJounte Murray, again, available. I know the Knicks and Wizards need point guards pretty badly as well, so they're probably making calls. The Suns reportedly shopping DeAndre Ayton ahead of the draft. Looks like they're willing to move him, as a sign-and trade option. A guy that seemingly isn't going to be there next season. He wants the max. I don't think they want to give it to him. The Pistons are really interested in him. I think the Pistons are probably the lead suitor. The Blazers targeting OG Anunoby with pick 7. I don't know if they'll get it, but it is a guy they're looking at. And Justin, a little earlier, I guess, but the Pistons are looking to get Gordon Hayward as well as one of the Hornets picks. They want one of the Hornets lottery picks. I guess 15 is just outside, but they want one of 13 and 15 attached to the Gordon Hayward contract. To get that, they want a lottery pick. They're fine with Gordon Hayward on the team. Because they have 2 max spots, they'd still have a slot open for DeAndre Ayton. The Pistons are making that push for Gordon Hayward, which I think is interesting. And it's looking like Paolo's going to go number 1. But the draft about to start, bro. The draft is starting at 8 o'clock. We just hit 8. And I assume the Magic are on the clock. So I think that's really interesting. It looks like they're going to go Paolo. I'm super, super hyped for that. But it's interesting for sure. Let me get the NBA draft on my phone at least so I can watch that and then give it to you guys live. But there we go. I got it now. But I have a breakdown of each team ready. I do have a breakdown of each team. So let's look at the Magic first. Let's talk about the Magic. So, key players for the Orlando Magic. Franz Wagner, who they drafted last year, was really good as a rookie, as a defender, as a guy who can do multiple things for you, whether it be scoring on the wing, shooting the ball a little bit, being a good defender, just does a lot of different things, and I think is probably their best player right now. Cole Anthony was their leading scorer last year at about 17 a game. Cole Anthony, really good scoring guard, is one of their key players, as well as Markelle Fultz, a guy coming off of an injury that could be good, as well as Jonathan Isaac, interesting, Wendell Carter Jr. But what do I think the Magic need? I think the Magic need scoring more than anything. That's why I've always thought Paolo is the best fit, because he has the highest scoring potential to me, to be a primary option, to be your lead scorer. And that's why it's looking more and more like they're going to draft him. They're going to draft Paolo Banchero at number 1, it seems like. They also need shooting. They have some guys, but Paolo, not a great shooter. So he's kind of a streaky shooter, so that's interesting. Jabari was a great shooter, so that's the biggest thing there. But they also need forwards. Jonathan Isaac, you don't know what's up with that. Chuma Okeke has been a little disappointing. I think you really want a 4 to go next to Franz Wagner at the 3. I think you want to run Franz at the 3, get a 4 to put next to him. Top targets to me, Jabari Smith Jr., Paolo Banchero, Chet Holmgren. It's going to be one of those 3 guys. And last year, they selected Jalen Suggs at 5, who's been kind of, iffy at best, but young point guard, could get a lot better. You don't really know. Point guards are kind of iffy, so they take some time to develop at times. And Franz Wagner at number 8, a guy that I really liked, Franz Wagner, the pick for them last year, I thought was great. I thought it was a really good pick for them and was really, really interesting. So I think that is a win right there. I think that's great. I think that's a great pick for them, as well as, can they do it again? Can they get a Franz Wagner guy again? Hopefully better. Probably you want better. Number 1 pick guy. You want a perennial all-star. You want all that good stuff. A guy that's going to make all-star year in and year out. Can you get that? That's the question. It's a question everybody's asking. Can you get that? I don't know. I genuinely don't know if they can or they can't, but hopefully they do it. I think Paolo's the guy. Paolo's the best guy to me. I think it makes sense. I really like Paolo to go number 1, in my opinion. That's who they should go with. That's who I want them to go with. But let's talk back. Let's look at the top prospects to me. Let's keep talking about them. So Paolo. What is Paolo good at? Paolo's good at a lot of different things. Scoring, passing, rebounding, physical. He's like 230 pounds at 6'10". Isn't afraid to throw his body around, throw some people around. We want Kai Soto for Pacers or Kings. I don't blame you. Honestly, I think both of those are good landing spots for Kai. We're going to see where he's going to go tonight. I don't know if Kai's going to be a second-round pick, first-round pick. We're going to see tonight, and I will let you know as it happens. But Paolo Banchero to me, best one. Adam Silver coming to the stand now. Good evening and welcome to the 2022 NBA Draft. He's here at the Barclays Center. I love that. Home of the Brooklyn Nets. Oh, he's going to talk about Brittany Griner first, bro. Enactment of Title IX. I don't care about all that. So, Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren. Who do you guys think that the Magic should take at 1? If it's me, I'm taking Paolo. It sounds like they're going to take Paolo. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know who you think the Magic should take. For me, it's got to be Paolo. Paolo was the most dominant guy when I watched him early on in the year, against Chet Holmgren, against Gonzaga. Was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. Paolo Banchero was really, really good on the highest stage. Wasn't afraid to do that. Wasn't afraid to be great on the biggest stage in basketball. Played in MSG early on as well against Kentucky. Was just really good early on. And I think people got tired of being, they don't want to just have a guy be the number 1 prospect all year. But to me, I don't know. I think Paolo was the best prospect all year. I still think he's the best prospect. And I think the Magic should go with number 1. But again, let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know your thoughts on it. He's giving a long speech right now. Adam Silver, long speech. He's talking about the Warriors. What do you guys think about the Warriors? You happy the Warriors won? I was rooting for the Celtics, but I didn't mind that the Warriors won. I think Steph Curry, one of the best players of all time, really changed the game as we know it today. I don't think it would be the same without Steph Curry. I think he really did shift it with the three-point shooting. I think he changed it a lot. I really do think he did. But There's a lot of guys that really, helped push that before him, whether it be Ray Allen, some guys alongside him, Klay Thompson, James Harden really helped push the advancement of the three-point shot as well. But we've hit 368 views on the stream already. I appreciate that. 46 watching live. Thank you. Thank you for watching. We also just hit 3,000 subscribers today. So thank you for that. 3,000. It means the world to me. I didn't expect to get this big on YouTube. So it really does mean a lot, and I'm really thankful. He's still talking about it. Back to the normal calendar. Whoa, who's gonna go one? Who's gonna go one? Who is gonna go one? I don't know. I think it should be Paolo. Should be Paolo. They're picking at one. They need scoring. They were the only team in the NBA last year to not have a guy that averaged over 17 points a game. They were the only team. I think Paolo Banchero averages 17 year one. And the Orlando Magic are on the clock. They have 5 minutes. The Orlando Magic on the clock. On the clock. 5 minutes to go. Who are they going to go? I think they're going Paolo. I do. Let's look back at the Magic first. The Magic, to me, Cole Anthony, is he their best player? Who is? They've had 2 number 1 picks in their history. They took Shaquille O'Neal, which was phenomenal, obviously. It was really, really great for them. They took Dwight Howard, number 1, who took them to a finals. Dwight Howard was great, so they have a history of taking great big men with the first overall pick. They've done that. They took Penny Hardaway, 3rd overall. They have some wins in their history. They have some wins recently. They drafted Victor Oladipo. They drafted Domantas Sabonis, and they traded both of them. I just watched a video on that. By the way, there was a guy that talked about the Magic messing up their rebuild with, trading all the guys, with missing on draft picks. They kind of missed with Mario Hezonja, but who knows? I think that they can't mess this up. I think there are really 3 guys that you can do. I think there are 3 guys that are good picks. Woj says that the Magic are expected to select Paolo Banchero with the number 1 overall pick. Paolo Banchero is going to be that guy. I think he is. I think Paolo's going 1. This is huge. Banchero is the front runner. He didn't say this yesterday. He tweeted differently yesterday. But the betting was changing. The sports markets were changing. But he was wrong. Woj was wrong yesterday. The sports books know. If you see the sports books changing, always trust the sports book. The sports books know what they're talking about. Jabari Smith is the fit for Orlando, says Gil. I think you can see that. I think you can totally see that. They need shooting. Jabari Smith, really good shooter. I think he's probably the safest of the top 3. I think Jabari Smith has the highest floor, because the worst thing he's going to be for you is a really good floor spacer, a guy that can defend on the perimeter. That is the worst thing that Jabari Smith Jr. is going to be for you. And I think that's worth taking a shot on, because he's not going to mess up very badly. You know what he's going to be. He's going to be a high-level guy. Whereas Paolo Banchero, with all the health concerns, with all the sweating issues, there are probably some concerns there. But to me, I don't think Chet should really be in huge consideration here. But to me, I still think that Paolo Banchero is the best fit at 1. They need a primary scorer more than anything. That's why I have their biggest team need as scoring. They need a primary scorer badly. Only team with a leading scorer averaging less than 17 points a game. Wendell Carter has some promise as a scorer. Franz Wagner is probably going to get better as a scorer. Cole Anthony may continue to improve as a scorer, but his efficiency is really bad. But I think Paolo. They need scoring. They need Paolo. And I don't think they can make any wrong pick. I think whether it's Paolo or Chet or Jabari, I think it's the right pick. I don't think you can be bad with either. And the commissioner is now walking up. The pick is in. The pick is in. This is huge, boys. The pick is in. The pick is in. I'm hyped. I'm actually really hyped. The pick is in. Who's it gonna be? pick. The Orlando Magic select Paolo Banchero out of Duke. Paolo goes number 1. Paolo Banchero out of Duke goes number 1 to the Orlando Magic. I think this is a great fit. I do. I really do. I love this as a fit for them. I think this is a phenomenal pick. And they go Paolo at 1. I think this is great. I think this is the guy that they should have taken and makes the most sense. They need a scorer. I think him and Cole Anthony is a great fit together. I really like the fit of Cole Anthony and Paolo Banchero. I like it a lot. I think it's great. I think it's one they need. Who have they selected today? Paolo Banchero, 1, the number 1 overall pick. I think Duke guys really are great, and they seem to go drafted high all the time. It's just what they do. They get drafted high, whether it be Tatum, whether it be, all these different guys. I think that this is great. I think they're always good. I mean, Jason Tatum was a hit. Brandon Ingram was a hit. They have a lot of these Duke guys that have just done really well. And Banchero, to me, does remind me of a little bit, of how Tatum plays, with his ability to face up, to take players one-on-one. And I think that the OKC is going Smith. Adrian, I think you're right. I think the Thunder are going to go Jabari Smith Jr. out of Auburn. I really think that's who they go. But let's talk about this for the Magic. Paolo Banchero. What is the Magic lineup next year? We're looking at a team that's probably something. They might start Isaac. That wouldn't even shock me. I think they could run up a team of Cole Anthony. Let's say they don't. Let's say Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs at the 2, running Franz at the 3, Paolo Banchero at the 4, and Wendell Carter Jr. at the 5. I think this gives you a team that's ready, to show some market improvement. I think they will look very improved with Paolo Banchero on the team. I really like the idea. With his ability to make plays as a playmaker, I think is great for them as well, because Cole Anthony really a score-first guard. Getting Paolo there, a guy that can pass the ball with the best of them, really kind of like a Ben Simmons type passer as a forward. I love to see that. But has shooting upside. The biggest concern to me right now is defense, but they have defense. They have Jonathan Isaac, who I really like as a defender. They have Franz Wagner, who I like as a defender. They just have a lot of different guys that I think make a lot of sense. I think there are multiple guys that make a lot of sense. I really do. I really do. I think it makes a ton of sense. But I don't know. I think it's a great fit. Paolo Banchero seems very happy to have went number 1. I like that. He said he never would have thought he'd go number 1. I love to see it. He deserves it. I think he's a great fit, and Paolo Banchero is a guy, to me, that will be the front runner for Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to average 20 points a game in his first year. I really do. I think he has that ability to score 20 points a game in year 1. Is really natural as a scorer, taking guys face up or different ways. Talking to Coach K now as a message for him. I love to see it, bro. I do. I love to see it. Also, if you're enjoying the stream, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Just hit 3,000 today. Very kind words for Coach K. It will be forever attached to Coach K as the guy that was part of the last run there at Duke. And I think that's awesome, man. I really do. I think they're great for each other, and I think Paolo is going to have learned a lot from Coach K. I think it's great. I really do. 2 minutes on the clock for the Thunder. The Thunder are now stuck with a tough decision. I really think the Thunder are kind of not in a great spot here because they have 2 guys that they could go with. Let me also fix this. I want to fix this. Paolo Banchero, no longer the best player on the board. Who is now number 10 to me? I don't know who I want 10. I had to pull up my other big board here. Not on the screen, but I gotta pull up my final big board to see who I really want to go here. Okay. I know who I'll go. AJ Griffin out of Duke is now the 10th best player. But the Thunder's pick are in. Who are they going to go? I think there's a lot of different guys they could go. Whether it be Jabari or Chet Holmgren, I think there is the ability to take multiple different players. But who are the Thunder going to take? I think they need different things. I think, they need some shooting. I think shooting is the biggest need for the Thunder. They don't have a ton of shooting right now, but they also need bigs. They need rim protection. Chet can be a good rim protector. Adrian asks, what do I make? You knew we aren't going to get Paolo. Yeah, that does suck for Houston. I think he would have been a really good fit there, but I also think whoever you get at 3 is going to be a good fit. But what do I make of Chet's medicals? I think it's fine. I'm not too concerned about it. I know it's reported he didn't give it to a couple teams, but I'm really not concerned about Chet's medical history. Really, he just does a lot of different things so well. The Thunder's pick is in with a second pick in the 2022 NBA Draft. The Oklahoma City Thunder select Chet Holmgren, Gonzaga. Chet Holmgren goes 2 to the Thunder. They stick with who they wanted. This is who they were going to go. Whether he went, no matter who went 1, unless Chet went 1, that's who they were going to go with. And they stuck to it. They did stick to it. And that's who they're going to take. Chet Holmgren out of Gonzaga goes number 2 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And that's huge, man. It's huge. I think that's really interesting. I do. Whether he's going to play power forward or center, I think is up for debate. I think that really is. It depends on who they go with their other pick. I think it does. What they're going to do with their second pick. I don't really know exactly what they're going to do. They could do a lot of different things, but dream scenario for Houston, yeah, this isn't bad for Houston at all. Honestly, they get Jabari Smith Jr., a guy that a lot of people like, and I think it makes a ton of sense. Let's look at the Thunder here. So, key players, SGA, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort. What are their biggest needs? Shooting. Chet Holmgren can shoot. Shot like 39% from 3. He just got called Baby Giannis on the ESPN broadcast. I don't think he is Baby Giannis. I don't know if that's a great comparison, but I don't think it's bad either. With his ability to attack the rim and shoot a little better. I like his ability to shoot 39% from 3. Again, floor spacing as a center. They need bigs. Chet Holmgren fills that, as well as scorers. I don't think Chet Holmgren's going to be a primary scorer, but with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander already there, I don't think they need him to be a primary scorer. I don't think that's the biggest thing they need. He's not going to be in a huge demand to be a scorer for them, because he can be out there, he can play make. He's not a bad playmaker either. Not on the same level as Paolo, but he can pass a little bit. Can run up and down the floor. The Thunder's idea. Who do the Thunder want? The Thunder want guys that can get the ball in their hands and just go. No matter who it is, they can get the ball and go. And I think he is one of those guys. I think he's a guy that can get the board and can just go at any time. I really like that. And now the Thunder have a new big 3 of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, and Chet Holmgren. That's a really nice 3 there. I think Chet Holmgren's really interesting in the NBA. I don't know where he's going to be. I honestly don't. I don't know if he's going to play power forward or center for them. Do they draft a center? Do they let him play center? Do they take him and let him play power forward? It's going to be really interesting what Chet does, because if he's going to play center, I do think he needs to put on a little more weight. Isn't great for a center size right now. But Houston is on the clock. Let's talk about Houston. We've been talking about Oklahoma City for a little bit. Let's talk about Houston. So Houston, they have Jalen Green, they have Alperen Sengun, and they have Kevin Porter Jr. Jabari looks kind of sad. It's tough because he thought he was going to go number 1, but I really like Jabari. Will he go Jabari? Will he go Jaden Ivey? I think Jaden Ivey is really interesting as a possible guy next to Jalen Green, but I think they're going to go Jabari. With my prediction live, I think they're going to go Jabari. Also, give you my picks of the first 2, my grades. I think the Paolo Banchero selection is an A. I do. I think the Paolo selection is an A, and I think the Thunder selection is probably something like a B+, because maybe an A-, but either an A- or a B+, because I like the idea of Jabari on their team. I think Jabari would have been a decent fit, and he would have been the best player available to a lot of people, but I think Chet Holmgren's still a good fit. But for the Rockets here, they go in Jabari, they go in Jaden Ivey, 2 really great players. I think they go Jabari. They need playmaking. Jabari doesn't really give that to you, but neither does Ivy. They need scoring. He can do that. He can score with the best of them. They need forwards. Again, Jabari makes a lot of sense there. As well as shooters, I do think they need some shooting. Alperen Sengun, not a bad shooter and passer as a big man, but both Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. are kind of inconsistent and inefficient as shooters, so I think getting a guy like Jabari Smith Jr. with his ability to space the floor next to the guys they already have, I think makes a ton of sense. I do. I really think he makes a ton of sense next to the guys they have. And I think this comes down to Jabari or Ivy. Last year they took Jalen Green, they took Alperen Sengun, really great. I think they traded for him actually, as well as Usman Garuba, who I don't have here because he didn't really play, and Josh Christopher at number 24, who was interesting when he was out there. Jabari is perfect for us, says Adrian. Perimeter defense is a big need. I think that's true. I really do agree with you there. I think Jalen Green, not the best defender. Jayshawn Tate obviously is a really good defender, but they're showing Jabari on the phone right now. They're kind of spoiling it ahead of time, but I think it's going to be Jabari. I really do. Pair him next to Sengun. I actually really like this for them because they need defense next to Sengun. Sengun is not the best defensive center. He's really not a phenomenal defender at center. So to get Jabari Smith next to him as a good defender, I think is a smooth fit. Also, being kind of a complementary scorer, I think is really great next to a guy like Jalen Green, because Jalen Green wants to be that lead scorer. He wants to be a primary scorer, and Jabari will let him do that. He'll let him do his thing. He won't get in the way of that, and I think that's great. I do think that's great. I like it a lot. But Houston's pick is in. The commissioner not up there yet. But to me, it's Jabari. Let me know what you guys think. It has to be Jabari, though. Yeah, I saw them call Jabari. I saw Jabari on the phone, Johnny. I did see Jabari on the phone. They did show that. I think that's who it's going to be, and I think that's a great fit. I think it's a little cleaner. I also like Kevin Porter Jr. I feel no need to take Jaden Ivey here because I like Kevin Porter Jr. I really do. I think KPJ has a lot of promise, is really natural as a scorer, as well as I think he's getting better at a lot of different things. I think his fit next to Jalen Green, they really like playing together, it feels like. So I think getting Jabari there makes more sense than Ivy. I think Ivy, of course, there'll be people in support of Ivy should have went here at number 3 to the Rockets, but I think Jabari is a cleaner fit and shows faith in Kevin Porter Jr., which I like to see. Adam Silver walking up to the stand, but I think we know who it's going to be. But with the third pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Houston Rockets select Jabari Smith Jr. out of Auburn. Jabari goes number 3, and a lot of people called it makes sense. I like it. I do. I think it makes a ton of sense. It just feels like the most logical pick here. I do. I think it's a good fit. It's weird because I did really like Paolo for them. I thought Paolo was a good fit for them. I really did. I thought Paolo was really interesting, and a guy that would have been a unique fit next to Jalen Green, a guy that I wouldn't have minded at all. I honestly would have thought that was a great pick. I would have really liked it, but Jabari Smith is a guy that maybe we didn't expect to be available here, but I don't have any problem with it. I think Jabari, really smooth fit next to the guy they got. Yeah, and Johnny's talking about it here. We just got a lot better. I think they did. I really do think they got a lot better. I think he's a smooth fit, really, really good jump shooter, one of the best big men jump shooters I've seen in a very, very long time. I'm really impressed with him as well. No. I just got a tweet from Shams that says the Kings are going to pick Keegan at 4. This has got to be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. The Kings continue to make horrible, horrible decisions. Ivy has to be the pick at 4. Shams better be wrong. If Ivy's not the pick at 4, I think the Kings fans have to cause some kind of uprising. It's so bad. It's so bad. It really is. And, Johnny, I really think Jabari, great fit for you guys. I love the core you guys have going forward with Jalen Green, with Alperen Sengun, with other guys as well, whether it be Kevin Porter Jr., Josh Christopher, I really like for you guys. I think you have a lot of intriguing young pieces, and honestly, you guys have the ammunition to move up and get another good pick as well. You have pick 26, you have pick 17. I really imagine that the Rockets will, kind of attempt to package them to move back up. I think the Rockets will be picking again sometime relatively soon. I don't know if it's top 10, but I think They have the ammunition to get back into the lottery. I think they have the ability to do that. I'm getting it from Woj too. It hasn't been announced yet, but the Kings are looking to pick Keegan Murray. Why? Why? I like Keegan Murray. Again, I have Keegan Murray at number 5 on my board. I don't hate Keegan Murray. I just think the fit is a little confusing to me. I don't love it. I actually like the fit better. I don't know what I'm saying. I like the fit a lot better. I just don't like the unaggressiveness. Jaden Ivey is the best player. If you're not going to trade the pick, like, if you don't want Ivey, trade the pick. Like, there are people that want him and would trade up for him. Genuinely, there are plenty of people that would trade up for him. Trade the pick. I just am really confused on it, man. This is great for the Pistons, though. This is a dream scenario for the Pistons. Let's look at my best players available right now. Mark Williams and Jeremy Sohan have both climbed into my top 10. They have climbed up into my top 10. But they're guys that I think should go at some point soon. But to me, Jaden Ivey is the best player on the board. But it looks like the Kings are not going to trade down. They are going to select Keegan Murray. It feels more and more likely as I hear multiple guys say it live on the air that they're going to take Keegan. I think this is a horrible mistake. They've had it multiple times where they have drafted right before a phenomenal player. They took Marvin Bagley one spot ahead of Luka Doncic. They took someone else one spot ahead of Klay Thompson. And there was some other guy, too, that they were one spot ahead of and they didn't take them. This has happened to them multiple times. You take the best player available and you worry about fit later. Jaden Ivey is the best player on the board. He is a Ja Morant type guy, Dwayne Wade type guy, and I think he makes a ton of sense. He has to be the pick here, but it's reported that he's not. He is not. It looks like it's going to be Keegan, and that is disappointing to me. That is disappointing to me. Not a Sacramento fan, but I just feel bad for him. The commissioner is up now with the 4th pick in the 2022 NBA draft. The Kings select Keegan Murray, Iowa. It's a safe pick. It is. He's the best fit on their team. If they couldn't get a trade value that they liked, he is the best player that fits their team. They really need a power forward. They do need a power forward. How high do I think Houston can get with 17 and 26? I think probably a team to watch that always wants more picks is Oklahoma City at 12. If the Hornets don't like anyone at 13, I think that's interesting, as well as I've heard rumors that Cleveland wouldn't mind trading back. So I think Cleveland is also a spot. So probably somewhere like 12 to 14 is the highest you're going to get back to. But Keegan Murray goes to Sacramento. Really smooth fit next to Domantas Sabonis. They have a center going forward. They have a point guard in De'Aaron Fox that is really similar to Jaden Ivey. I think their game styles, the way they play is very similar. So to get a guy in Keegan Murray that is a smoother fit does make some sense. I see the understanding. I get why they would do it. But I just feel like they could have traded. I think they could have traded back. I really think they could have done that. Or taken Ivy, then traded him later. But this is the guy they wanted. Keegan Murray, really natural, kind of low-maintenance scorer. Doesn't need the ball in his hand to be able to score. And, I think that's great for him. I think it's a good fit on Sacramento. But to me, they had to go Ivy. I'm a little disappointed. To me, I think the best I can give this pick is like a C. I can't give it higher than a C just because I think Ivy was the best player on the board. I can't really, say like, hey, I love this pick, because that just wouldn't be true. But I think Ivy's going next. I really do think Ivy's the pick at 5. But with De'Aaron Fox, with Davion Mitchell, I think Keegan Murray makes sense. This gives the Kings a likely starting lineup of De'Aaron Fox, Davion Mitchell, Harrison Barnes at the 3, Keegan Murray at the 4, and Domantas Sabonis at the 5. Him getting comparisons live on the broadcast now to Pascal Siakam, and I don't think that's a bad comparison. I think Pascal is a reasonable comparison for him, and I think that's fine to say. Like, I think he's realistically Pascal Siakam, a guy that has a good spin move, a kind of advanced offensive package, but doesn't need a ton drawn up for him. It's really really good at cutting, attacking the basket, spot up, knowing where to be on the floor to be able to catch and shoot. And I think it's really interesting here. I think there are a lot of things that could go down. And this was not one I expected. I kind of expected them to at least, if they weren't going to go Ivy, to trade the pick. And it's really interesting that they did go Keegan instead of Ivy. Ivy, to me, was the best player on the board. Bleacher Report has his pro player comp as TJ Warren, a really good scorer as a forward. I think Keegan Murray is a really good fit. Let me say that again. I do like Keegan Murray fit-wise, but I just think that he probably wasn't the best player. I think that's fair to say. I don't think that's crazy to say. But the Kings, a team that needed shooting, defense, wings, they get Keegan Murray, a guy that can play the four for them, a spot that is a smooth fit next to Harrison Barnes. But they end up going Keegan Murray this year, and I think fit-wise it's really good. But I think they've drafted for fit before, namely with Marvin Bagley, and it has went really poorly for them. So I would have been weary of something like this. I wouldn't have loved the idea of doing this myself, but that's fine. It's not a bad fit. It's a good fit-wise. I just don't like drafting for fit. I'm personally a guy that always prefers the draft for best player available, and they just didn't do that. So that's one that's interesting, to say the least. But, again, good fit. Really good fit. A guy that makes sense fit-wise. But let's talk about the Pistons. Let's do it. The Pistons are on the clock at number 5. They have Cade, they have Sadiq Bey, and Marvin Bagley has looked better for them. I think Marvin Bagley, once he got there, looked a lot better, and I think getting a guard next to Cade is the perfect scenario. This is the guy that the Pistons wanted, and I think Jaden Ivey is a guy that is a perfect fit on this Pistons team. I love the idea of him next to Cade Cunningham. Kind of a yin and yang type pairing, because they are two guys that have a little bit, of a different game. I don't think their games are really that similar. Cade Cunningham, slow, methodical. I'll break you down off the dribble. I'll hit a shot in your face. Whereas Cade Cunningham is going to blow by you. He's explosive. He's really fast. He's a transition guy, which Cade isn't really going to be out and score a ton in transition. But Ivy will, and I think the two of them will be a phenomenal fit together if that is who they take. I'm sure they're looking at guys like Shaedon Sharpe. I'm sure, to be kind, looking at guys like Shaedon Sharpe, Benedict Mathurin, but to me, I think pretty easily, it has to be Jaden Ivey. It does. It has to be Jaden Ivey to me. That's just the guy I think it has to be, but you never know. There are different options. There are always different options. I haven't had monetization on the whole time. That's on me. That's bad. That's bad for me, but that's fine. That's fine. I'll turn it on now. That's fine. I'm not too worried about it. Monetization is now on, but that's fine. I'm having a good time here. I'm really enjoying this stream with you guys. Been live for, I think, about 45 minutes, something like that. But Keegan Murray went 4. The pick is in for the Pistons. Commissioner not yet walking up. I think it's going to be Ivy. I think Ivy's the best fit. I think Ivy is the best fit. He just makes sense to me. The Pistons, I don't think, are probably going to make the playoffs this year. I don't think Pistons are going that kind of level. But is the guy. Is definitely the guy. Makes sense. He does. He does. Johnny South says 7. Is that how high you think they're going to get up to 7? I don't think they get that high. I don't think the Portland Trailblazers, who are a team that wants to compete right now, I don't think they're interested in trading back to take picks 17 and 26. The Blazers will not do that. Pistons pick it in. With the 5th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Detroit Pistons select Jaden Ivey out of Purdue. Perfect fit. Perfect fit. Why is Shams tweeting out every pick before it happens? I hate that. I hate that. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys because it makes me angry. But if you guys want to check out Shams' Twitter, you can see who the Pacers are taking at 6. But tell him to stop doing that. I really don't like it. I don't like it. But Jaden Ivey goes at number 5. Let's take a look back at the draft board. Who are the guys that have went? What are the picks so far? At the first 5 picks, we have Paolo Banchero, the scorer to Duke. The scorer out of Duke goes to the Magic at number 1. A guy that's a really smooth fit. They kind of have a forward duo now with Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner at the 3 and the 4. The Oklahoma City Thunder go Chet Holmgren, a guy that can play both power forward and center. There's a guy that makes a ton of sense there, a guy that can rim protect, something they really need. They need They still don't want Eric Gordon and Kenny Martin Jr. in 26. That will not get you pick 7. I'm sorry, they just don't care. The Blazers will not take that. But Paolo Banchero 1, Chet Holmgren at 2, shot blocker, makes a ton of sense. Houston Rockets, they get Jabari Smith, falls a little bit to 3, guy that can really space the floor, complimentary scorer. It feels really nice next to Jalen Green as their duo going forward. For the Kings, they get Keegan Murray, a guy that feels like a natural, smooth fit next to a guy like Sabonis at the 5. Sabonis, kind of a back to the basket big, old school type big. So to get Keegan Murray, a guy that doesn't take a lot of, kind of maintenance, isn't like a diva or anything like that, is really kind of an off-ball guy and is willing to score off of cuts, off of spot-ups. Sabonis will find you and you will get shots as well as opportunities at the rim. I think Keegan Murray, very good fit-wise for Sacramento, just wasn't the best player available. And at number 5, the Pistons take the best player that was available at Jaden Ivey out of Purdue. Legitimate star potential. I think Ivey will be a star, just feels like a star in this league. It seems like he's going to be that level of player. So Jaden Ivey goes number 5 to the Detroit Pistons. Ton of sense. Makes a ton of sense. I really love it for them. I like it a lot, honestly. I think it is a logical fit for them. And I think it made a lot of sense. When we were looking at the Pistons, what did the Pistons need? They needed scoring. Ivey's going to give them scoring right now. He really will. Ivey is going to give them the scoring that they need. Sorry, I have trouble typing and talking at the same time. Who knows why? Because I'm slow. But Jaden Ivey goes at number 5. They needed scoring. They needed a second option next to Cade, and they needed shooting. Ivey needs to improve as a shooter a little bit, but has a really high work ethic, really a dynamic as a scorer, a really good athlete, attacks the rim with the best of them, and just makes a ton of sense next to Cade Cunningham. I think he was the perfect fit. I love his fit next to Cade. I think these two guys together will be phenomenal. I love Cade and Ivey going forward, and he is crying up there. He is so happy to be up there, and it's great for him. It really is. The Pacers are up, and their pick is in also, but let's talk about the Pacers real quick. Their key players, they got Halliburton, they got Chris Duarte, they got Miles Turner if they want to keep him. I think they'll move Brogdon, but I think they should keep Turner. I think keeping Turner makes a ton of sense. They need forwards, they need scorers, and they need shooters. They also could use a guard to pair next to Tyrese Halliburton, as Chris Duarte may not be long-term, but he also can play the 3, so a shooting guard would also make sense. Keegan Murray's off the board, so to me, Ben Mathurin and Dyson Daniels, as well as Shaedon Sharpe, are the 3 prospects this pick is between. Last year they went Duarte, not a bad pick, as well as Isaiah Jackson, and Dwayne Washington is an undrafted free agent. So the Pacers are on the clock at number 6, and I think it's going to be Mathurin. I do. I think Sharpe is in play. I do think Sharpe is in play as a really dynamic guy, but we just haven't seen enough of him. I think they want a guy that's more proven, a guy that was one of the best players in the country last year in college. I think they go Benedict Mathurin. I think that makes too much sense not to do, and I think it's really smart to go a guy like Mathurin here next to Tyrese Halliburton. After Ivey's off the board, Keegan Murray's off the board, both guys that in some places were mocked to the Pacers. So to me, it's between Mathurin and Sharpe. And the commissioner walking up to the podium to make the selection. With the 6th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Indiana Pacers select Benedict Mathurin out of Arizona. They go Mathurin. I think it's a good fit. I do. I like Mathurin for them a lot. I think it's a great fit. Let's get back to the board here. Yeah, I think they go Mathurin. I do. They did go Mathurin. I think it's a good fit. I like Benedict Mathurin a lot. I'm going to make this short here, and I'm just going to put Ben, but really Benedict Mathurin out of Arizona is really a shooting guard. I love his fit next to Tyrese Halliburton. I think these two guys work together really well. I really do. Tyrese Halliburton is a guy that's not the most offensive player out there, with the ability to pass with the best of them, to be a great facilitator, good defender, and improving shooter. But Benedict Mathurin is a great shooter right now. He is a very good shooter from day one. He will be a great shooter. He will continue continue to be a good shooter, and he has upside to be more than that. Is really good in transition right now, has a good handle right now. I think his ability to break down defenders one-on-one, I think they do that. It says the Knicks are still in pursuit of acquiring Jaden Ivey, is being reported, but there's no way they get him from the Pistons. I'm sorry. The Pistons are keeping Ivey. The Pistons are so happy to get Ivey. There's no way the Knicks get him. He is gone. Jaden Ivey is gone. The Knicks fans can kiss Jaden Ivey goodbye. He's just not going to stay. But they get Benedict Mathurin here, shot creator, a guy that's really athletic. You saw him attack the rim sometimes at Arizona, throw down some massive poster dunks. I think his fit next to the guys they already have is really good. I think both him and Chris Duarte can play the 2 and the 3. They have 2 guys that can do that now, can play multiple positions and be really successful at it. And I think they're going to continue to have these guys that are really good at being versatile. Tyrese Halliburton as well has played multiple positions. But to see Benedict Mathurin, a guy 6 rebounds a game at Arizona, a guy that does so many different things for you as a guard, shooting guard, or maybe small forward, but I think he's a little undersized. I think he'll probably be a shooting guard. But a guy that can attack the rim, can shoot the 3 ball, can be a guy in transition that does a lot for you, has some defensive upside, did have some lapses at times or kind of felt like he wasn't paying attention, but to me is really a high upside player, a guy that does a lot of different things for you. Not a bad passer either. Sometimes he takes kind of risky passes, but he just does so many different things. I think he's really versatile. Some people said he should have even went higher than this, but there were times where he was in like the 8 to 10 range, but Mathurin had cemented himself in the area of 4 to 7, and he goes at number 6. So who do the Pacers go? Not the Pacers, the Blazers. Now is the thing. Who do the Blazers go at number 7? Are the Blazers going to trade that pick? They totally could. They could trade the pick. That is an option. It is definitely an option for them to do. I don't know if they're going to, but it is an option for them. As well as this year, the Pacers so far have went Ben Mathurin out of Arizona, who went number 6. That is who they have done so far, but let's take a look at the Trailblazers. What are the Trailblazers' needs, honestly? What are the Trailblazers' biggest needs? They have Damian Lillard right now, right? They just traded for Jeremy Grant, so they got that kind of wing that they need, power forward type slot. So I think they could still use a small forward. Maybe an upgrade over a guy like Josh Hart, so maybe Shaedon Sharpe is in play here. Ben Mathurin's off the board. Dyson Daniels is really interesting as a point guard who could do a lot of different things, but really, I think he's a great fit for New Orleans. So if I'm the Trailblazers, I'm taking Shaedon Sharpe. Shaedon Sharpe makes the most sense to me as a really high upside scorer. He has the potential to be a very good scorer in the NBA. I think he's going to take a little more time to develop just because he hasn't played the same level of competition at this point. But Dame looked really happy watching him at his workouts. Seemed like he really wanted him there. He has the defensive upside they need. Not a great playmaker, but they need some wings. They got a power forward. Now they have a small forward if they take him. I think Sharpe makes a lot of sense for them to go at pick number 7. I think Sharpe, if they don't trade out, is the best pick to me. They're a winning team already. They have Dame, they have Grant, they have Anthony Simons, who I really like. They have a lot of different things. So to me, I think you take an upside swing here and you go Shaedon Sharpe. It does feel like a little bit of a swing, but I'm more than happy to do it. If I am the kind of head guy of the Trailblazers, I would take Shaedon Sharpe. I think he makes you more exciting right now. I think he's really dynamic. He's not afraid to pull from really deep. So you have multiple guys with really high shooting confidence, with Damian Lillard, with Anthony Simons, with Shaedon Sharpe. So I really like to see that. On top of being a phenomenal athlete, he's probably the best athlete on the team from day one, which is great to see. Above the rim finisher, does that super well. Awesome to see a great finisher like him. Is a phenomenal finisher and is going to continue to be a good finisher, I think, in the NBA. With his ability to get as high as he does, I think he's going to finish through contact, have a lot of highlight plays. Is maybe a guy year one that you think maybe you throw him in the G League. I don't think you have to do that. I think you can play him on the team. Might not start from day one, but I think by the end of the year he's probably starting. I think you're looking at a long-term lineup of something like Dame, Simons, Sharp at the 3, Grant, and then maybe Nurkic, whatever they do at center. Maybe they chase a guy like Ayton still. You never know what they're going to do for their center spot, but I think the Trailblazers here more than happy if they get Sharp. That makes a lot of sense as the long-term 3 next to the guys they already have. I like Josh Hart, who doesn't, but his contract is non-guaranteed. If they end up, kind of cutting Josh Hart, they could actually save a lot of money to really chase someone in free agency. So don't be surprised if Josh Hart is one of those surprise cuts. We've already seen Danilo Gallinari kind of get cut. It was one of those surprise cut kind of guys. And I think that maybe Josh Hart is the next one of those guys that could get surprisingly cut. Does he deserve it? Probably not. He doesn't deserve to get cut. But I think he's a guy that could be. Like, realistically, he is a guy that long-term, might not be on the team next year. So I think getting Shaedon Sharp there, really good fit. And the Blazers are on the clock with the 7th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft. The Portland Trailblazers select Shaedon Sharp out of Kentucky. I love that. Great fit. Great fit. I like it a lot. I really do. I think he's the most logical fit. I thought maybe the Blazers would get afraid to take him, would say, we're not going to swing on this guy. But they took him out of high school. I'm going to put out of high school. Feels like the best to me. But makes a ton of sense. The Knicks are still pushing really hard for Jaden Ivey, it says. They're not going to get him. They're not. They're just not going to get him. I don't know. I don't see what they're trying to do. They're not going to get him. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me to really unrealistically push to try to get Jaden Ivey when he's already off the board. But maybe the Knicks have a shot at Ivey. Who knows? But Shaedon Sharp goes number 7, a guy that played no college basketball, didn't play any college basketball, when reclassified. He was the number 1 player in his class before he reclassified. We just haven't seen the man play in like a year and a half. He really hasn't played any organized basketball in a long time. And I think for a lot of people, that's going to kind of turn them off to him. They're not going to be super interested in him just because we haven't seen him play in so long. But I heard he really impressed in his workouts down the stretch, was phenomenal as an athlete, really good shooting upside as well. I think he's a guy that's really interesting there that can be super high upside. Honestly, I really like it. And I feel like Daniels goes 8. I don't know for sure, but that would be my guess. But you never know. But I think he's probably who goes there next. I'm just updating my top 10 here that you guys will get to see in a second. But it's going to take a second because I am slow at it. But I have to add 3 new guys because I've been behind. I like the Sharp pick. Let me know if you guys like the Sharp pick. I think it's phenomenal. I think it makes a ton of sense here at number 7. Great fit for them. I thought maybe they'd trade out of the spot, but they didn't end up doing it. But I still think it's really good. I like it for them a lot. Let's look at the big board. Who is the top 10 at this point in the draft? So the best player to me at this point is Dyson Daniels out of the G League Ignite. Does so many different things, whether it be great defensively, good passer, good playmaker, good rebounder. Just does so many different things. The shot is coming along, but is already a good finisher at the rim. Kind of like a taller Marcus Smart comparison. Jalen Duren, also very good. My second best player on the board. Really physical, dominant, imposing center that I think will throw some bodies around. AJ Griffin for me at number 4, a guy that's probably the best shooter in this draft class. If it's not Jabari, then it's going to be AJ Griffin, a guy that shot 50% on catch and shoot threes this year. One of the best freshman shooting seasons we've ever seen. Mark Williams for me at number 5, best available. I think he's really intriguing as a guy that's 7'2", will catch lots of block shots. Jeremy Sohan at 6, really great defender. Does so many different things for you. More like a Draymond Green, Ben Simmons than like a Marcus Smart type guy like Dyson is. But I think Sohan is like a point forward defensive guy. At number 7, I got Malachi Branham out of Ohio State. Really good scorer, good shooter. Ochai Agbaji at 8, a guy that's a senior, has been in college a long time, but I think offers you a lot of different things, whether it be shooting, defense, experience, hustle, effort, just does all that for you. At number 9, I got Ousmane Dieng out of France, a 6'10 guy that can play guard and has some pretty high upside there as well. So I think that profile is something we don't really see a lot. So I think a lot of people are going to be really hyped about Dieng just because of the kind of unique profile. I know a lot of my viewers are kind of Kai Soto guys, so they actually really don't like Dieng, but I like Dieng. 6'10 guard, with playmaking ability. You just don't see players like that. It's kind of unique. And then at 10, I have Tara Eason out of LSU. I think is super athletic, potential lottery level guy. Is a guy that's really interesting to me as an athlete, as a defender, and as an improved shooter. Really improved shooter throughout his time at LSU. From year 1 to year 2, jumped dramatically with his shooting ability, and I was very impressed with that. So I was thankful to see that, and to me, I think, he is my number 10 guy on the board right now. But those are my top 10. So let's look at the board again. So we've had 7 picks so far. Banchero out of Duke goes 1, Chet Holmgren at 2, Jabari at 3, Keegan at 4, Jaden Ivey goes to the Pistons at 5, who the Knicks are still reportedly very hard pushing for to try to get Jaden Ivey on the Knicks. It's not going to happen, but they're trying very hard. They get Benedict Mathurin at 6 to the Pacers and Shaedon Sharpe at 7 to the Blazers. Commissioner walking to the clock, about to give the Pelicans pick. And with the 8th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Dyson Daniels out of the G League Ignite. Great fit. Perfect fit. I think they needed a point guard badly. I really do. I don't think CJ McCollum is probably a long-term, point guard option there. It doesn't really feel like a guy that's going to play point guard for you long-term. They take Dyson Daniels at 8 to be that guy, to be their point guard of the future, a guy that's really phenomenal defensively, and, really fits the identity of what the Pelicans are doing. The biggest thing for me, for them, has always been, hey, we really care about defense and effort, and Dyson Daniels is going to bring both of those things day one. CJ McCollum, not the best defender in the world, so I think getting Dyson Daniels next to him makes a ton of sense. I really do. CJ, not a bad defender, but not a great one either. So I think getting Dyson next to CJ McCollum is really smooth. He can play defense really, really well compared to Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart would be a perfect fit on this Pelicans team. So I think to get Dyson there is really interesting and makes a ton of sense for the pick there to stay at number 8 and to play next to the guys they have. I think the shooting needs to develop because you need pretty much all shooters around Zion just because of the way he plays. But I think with the combine, with his workouts with teams, really improved a lot with the shooting, really showed a lot of shooting prowess, and I think he can get better in that area. So for me, I'm not too worried about the shot. Really good finisher right now, has a nice touch, a kind of little floater game, and the Spurs are on the clock at 9. The Spurs are really interesting here because what are they going to do? Nobody really knows. Pretty much any pick that the people mock, they hate it. Spurs fans hate any pick that gets mocked to them. It doesn't make any sense because you have to have somebody, right? So the idea that they don't like anybody is kind of weird, I don't really get the idea of let's hate any guy that can be drafted to us. But to me, it's either AJ Griffin or it's Jalen Duren out of Memphis. I think those are the two guys that could go to the Spurs. Jalen Duren as a potential upside replacement for Jakob Poeltl because, just to be fair, it's an upgrade athletically from day one. Jalen Duren, better athlete, can catch lobs, can do a lot of different things for you, and I think makes a lot of sense as a guy who can, do many different things, whether it be blocking shots, kind of defending on the perimeter, catching lobs, finishing on the interior, getting rebounds, or it can be AJ Griffin, a guy that's a phenomenal shooter. I think they need a better shooter next to the guys they currently have, so I think getting a guy on the wing who can be a really good shooter in AJ Griffin would make some sense. I would have no problem with that. To me, I think AJ Griffin is a pretty solid guy to get there, and I think that AJ Griffin, a guy, injuries, people are a little concerned about them, but I think it's not a huge concern because he came to Duke after the injuries, and again, I don't think it was a big problem. He didn't seem super limited. I mean, he's a little slower, I think, than he was at some times in high school, but I think he does have the shooting prowess that we haven't really seen from anyone else. So that shooting ability, to me, it really makes me high on him, and I think he makes a ton of sense. We've been streaming for over an hour, boys. I hope you're enjoying. Not a lot of chatters in a while. We've kind of got some kind of just watchers here, and that's fine, but I thought maybe people would be interested. The Pistons will keep Jaden Ivey, even though there are a lot of potential suitors being reported right now that they are refusing to get rid of Jaden Ivey, and that makes a ton of sense to me. I wouldn't trade Ivey either. I think Ivey's a perfect fit next to Cade. They want to keep Ivey. They want the ability to have him next to a guy like Cade Cunningham. I think they're a perfect pairing. So the idea that I would even think about moving the idea that I would even think about moving Ivey, to me, doesn't make any sense. So I think it's great that they're planning on keeping him. And for the Pelicans, again, Dyson Daniels makes a ton of sense to me as the long-term starting point guard for the Pelicans. Really, really solid. I'm excited for that. And who are the Spurs going to take? Let me know your guys' thoughts, who you think the Spurs should take, because I think there are a lot of different options. I could put a poll out there. I actually have the ability to do that. Who should the Spurs draft at 9? I think it's really between 3 guys. I hate Shams, bro. Stop spoiling it for me. It makes me so angry. Who should the Spurs draft at 9? You guys let me know your thoughts. I'll throw up the poll right now. To me, it feels like it should be, I don't know. I don't really know. I think there are a lot of different guys. It seems like they're going to go Sohan. I think it's being reported that they're going to go Sohan, but I think there are a lot of different options. I think AJ and Jalen Duren are both really interesting as prospects. Could be guys that I think make some sense. But it's being reported right now that it seems like they're going to go Jeremy Sohan, which is really interesting. Kind of like a defensive-oriented. That's really all he's going to do. Is going to be a great defender. He's not going to give you much offensively. They have some guys right now that are decent offensively, namely DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, not bad defenders. But to think, you get guys that can't give you pretty much any offense with Jeremy Sohan is confusing to me. I don't see the kind of high level potential of doing something like that. I just don't see the high end of what it can be, because they have Jakob Poeltl already, not a great scorer. They have some wings that I don't really think are very good scorers either. So to me, it's a little confusing why they would go Sohan, but I know some other people have mocked it. There are some people that really like it to them, so I don't think it's bad in any way. I think you can definitely do that, and it's not bad. Ooh, their pick is in. I don't know who they're going to go, but their pick is in. Kendrick Perkins' middle name is apparently Little, so that's something, I guess. But let me know if you guys are enjoying the stream. Hopefully you are. I'm enjoying talking about the NBA draft. I always do. Who do you guys think should be the guy for the Spurs at 9? It looks like it's going to be Sohan. Their pick is in. They kind of let it wind all the way down, but there's a guy that I think makes a ton of sense here. At number 9, I think would be Griffin, but it looks like that's not who they're going to go. I think Sohan is a little high for him, but there's been no trades either. That's the biggest thing for me, is that there's been no trades. I thought there'd be a trade by now. I did. But usually there's not as many trades as we would expect. That's just kind of how it goes, I guess. But who knows? Who knows? My video is slowed down. 3,043, that's the subs, boys. I don't know who we're going to go here. I don't know why they're taking so long either. It's kind of making me irritated. Do you guys want me to do both rounds? I might just stay for the first round with the way that it's going. Not a ton of viewers right now. There's a few of you guys that seem to still be interested in watching, in looking and seeing what's up. But the pick is in. I hate Shams, bro. I hate him. Stop giving me the pick ahead of time. Stop. With the 9th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs selected Jeremy Sohan out of Baylor. That is who they're going. Jeremy Sohan. Interesting. This is a guy that Bill Simmons mocked out recently, actually. Bill Simmons was a guy that really thought that's where they should go. And that's interesting. And I think that Woj doesn't even know what he's talking about. He's talking about the Wizards are locked on getting their young point guard, Johnny Davis. Johnny Davis is a shooting guard through and through. Johnny Davis is a shooting guard. But Jeremy Sohan goes number 9, a guy that's a really good defender, has played some overseas, played for the Polish national team at Eurobasket 22. Really interesting guy in Sohan, has done a lot of different things, has played at a lot of different places, but he ends up going number 9 to the Spurs, and the Wizards are on the clock at 10. I would have loved if Dyson Daniels was here. I think Dyson Daniels would have been a perfect fit, kind of like a point guard option for them long term, but he's off the clock. I think it's too high for Ty. So to me, I do think Johnny Davis is the right pick. I do. I think Johnny Davis makes the most sense here, and I think that's who they're going to go. And that makes it really tough for the Knicks after them because there's a lot of different things they could do. There's a lot of different ways they could go. But, yeah, I think there's a lot of options. I really do. But Jeremy Sohan goes number 9 to the Spurs. Let's talk about, the Wizards a little bit. The Wizards have a lot of different things going on. We're going to blaze through this PowerPoint real quick to get to the Wizards because I've been kind of bad at keeping up with the teams here for a little bit. But the Wizards, key players on the Wizards, Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis, Kyle Kuzma, really their big 3 guys in my opinion. Bradley Beal, going to be an unrestricted free agent this summer, is a guy that could leave, has talked about he's worried about, not giving himself a chance to win. So to me, if you're going to, you want a chance to win, I think leaving the Wizards is the way to do that. I think that's the way to do it. Kristaps Porzingis, Kyle Kuzma, both important pieces and team needs. I think point guard is a big need for them. I think playmaking is a big need for them. They need point guard badly. They need some defenders too. Bradley Beal, not a great defender. Porzingis, not the best defender in the world. So to me, I think the top targets for the Wizards here at 10 have to be Johnny Davis, Ousmane Dieng, and Jalen Duren, because Thomas Bryant, I believe, also hitting free agency this summer. They moved on from Montrezl Harrell, so really the big thing for them is they need a point guard or a center. They're going to be losing some centers this summer. Last year they took Corey Kispert and Isaiah Todd. Isaiah Todd didn't end up really playing for them, but Corey Kispert played decently. He was fine for them. It wasn't a big problem. He was there at times and was all right. But I'm concerned here for the Wizards because I would be really worried if I'm a Wizards fan about Bradley Beal leaving this summer. So I get a guy that could be a potential replacement or a guy that can be a point guard next to him in Johnny Davis. I think Johnny Davis probably the move here if I'm the Wizards. Just kind of makes the most sense to me at 10. Ousmane Dieng as like a 6'10 guard I think makes a ton of sense too. God bless Kai Soto, says Ezekiel. Yes, sir. But Johnny Davis, Ousmane Dieng, some pretty good playmakers. Jeremy Sohan's off the board, also kind of like a tall playmaker, so I don't think you go there either. I think it's obviously way too early for guys like Jake LaRavia and Nikola Jovic, so that really leaves Johnny Davis and Ousmane Dieng as the 2 competing people here, in my opinion, but I think Jalen Duren should also be in consideration as well, because he's really the most dominant pure center in this year's draft class. Jalen Duren, really, I don't think there is another pure center that's as dominant as he is, because realistically, Chet Holmgren not a center. Honestly, I would kind of like Jalen Duren to go to the Thunder with Chet Holmgren. I think it would be really unique. I think to have those 2 guys together could be super interesting. I think those 2 would fit together really nicely, and I think you could put guys like Chet and Duren on the court at the same time at the 4 and the 5 and have that work out pretty well. I think you really could do that and have that be successful, but to me, this is between Johnny Davis and Ousmane Dieng. I know a lot of you as viewers are not Ousmane Dieng fans, and that's okay. I don't think you have to be a huge fan just to realize, how he would impact the Wizards as a team that needs playmaking badly. That's their biggest thing, is they need a point guard, they need playmaking. Ousmane Dieng has the potential to be a 6'10" point guard, so I think you have to bite on that and have to at least be interested. But to me, Johnny Davis is the move. Elite defender, can guard positions 1 through 3 with ease, is a really good rebounder, average 8 rebounds a game for Wisconsin as a guard this year, on top of averaging 20 points a game. He really has star potential to me. Yes, Rockets did get Jabari. I thought he was going to go 1, but I thought Paolo Banchero was the best player in this draft class. So to me, I think the Magic made the right move, and I'm really happy with how they drafted. I think they did it correctly and got Paolo. Jabari goes 3. I think it's not bad. What do you mean I'm late? I'm not late on anything, Adrian. You're talking about the viewers are late? Yeah, maybe, but the Rockets did get Jabari. It's also good to see people still here. 27 viewers right now. We're over 1,100 viewers for the entire stream. But again, Magic move. Yeah, I think the Magic did have a nice move. Honestly, I really like Paolo for them. I think it makes a ton of sense. I think Paolo is a really good fit for them. They needed a primary scorer, and they got one at 1. Let's get back to the board, though, because the Wizards pick is in. The commissioner not at the clock yet, but the Wizards pick is in. So let's look at this. So the board, Paolo at 1, we already know how that went. Chet at 2, Jabari at 3, kind of a mix-up of the top 3. We thought it'd probably be Jabari, Chet, and then Paolo. Ended up being Paolo, Chet, then Jabari. Keegan at 4, Ivy at 5, Mathurin at 6, Sharp at 7, Daniels at 8, and Sohan at 9. With the 10th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Johnny Davis out of Wisconsin. Dynamic score. I think he's a good fit for the Wizards. It's kind of like insurance in case they lose Bradley Beal. I think that's the biggest thing here, is he's kind of like an insurance policy in case you lose Bradley Beal. But I think he also has the potential to play next to him. Not really a point guard right now. To me, in my opinion, I don't think he's probably a point guard. I don't see that with Johnny Davis right now. Feels like more of a shooting guard than a point guard. But really a dynamic as a scorer. Makes a lot of sense to me as insurance in case Bradley Beal leaves, and kind of a guy that can be a nice fit next to him. I think you can force him to play point guard if you want him to be. Like, that's like a position that he has the ability to play. I just think he'd be better off as a shooting guard than a point guard, but really scores at all 3 levels. I think he has ability to score at the rim, in the mid-range, and from 3. I think he takes sometimes too difficult shots, but that's something that he has to work on. Now let's talk about who the Knicks should take with the next selection. So, who are the best players available? Let's get back on that. Let me remove Johnny Davis, and then we'll get back on track here. So I think Johnny Davis, he's gone. He is no longer there. Johnny Davis has been taken. So the best player on the board to me is Jalen Duren. Now, who is the 10th guy that is left right now? I got it here. I know this is kind of a chaotic stream right here, but I think Ty Washington is probably here now. I think Ty is the 10th best, but who do the Knicks select? Jalen Duren out of Memphis is the best player on the board to me. I think they're taking AJ Griffin. I really do. Also, Jeremy Sohan's off the board. That's what I'm saying. Jeremy Sohan is off the board. Who is number 10 now? Now we're all over the place. We are all over the place. Okay. Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara is now my 10th best. I hear some rumblings right now that they're going to go Ousmane Dieng out of France. Ousmane Dieng is a guy that they're looking at going, a 6'10 guard out of France. They need a point guard badly, so it wouldn't be horrible to me if they go Dieng, but I think this is a little high to go Dieng at 11. I don't love the idea of them doing that. I think there are better players and better fits. I think both AJ Griffin and Malachi Branham are more logical fits for the Knicks here. It sounds like they want to bring back Mitchell Robinson, so I don't think they need a center with Jalen Duren or Mark Williams. I don't think they need either of those centers, but I think they do need a shooter. They need a shooter and a scorer like Griffin, like Branham, but they also need a point guard. So do they go Ousmane Dieng, try to make Ousmane Dieng a point guard? They could try to do that. They really could, but the Knicks are now expected to draft Ousmane Dieng with the number 11 pick via ESPN. Whoa, I think that's early. I think it's early for the Knicks to do that. I think it's kind of a reach here, but it looks like that's probably who they want to go with. They want to run Ousmane Dieng as a 6'10 guard. Will at least be interesting. Are the Knicks going to kick? They're going to nick. They're going to take a reach again. But they're going high upside here with Ousmane Dieng, it looks like, is who they're going to pick. They took Porzingis a few years ago, and Porzingis really worked out for them before they ended up trading him. I think Porzingis was phenomenal for them when he played, was really, really interesting as a prospect, as a 7'3 guy who could shoot, who could, block shots, who could do different things. I know what you meant. I got you. They're going to nick. But, to me, I go Griffin. I go AJ Griffin, but I don't think that's who they're going to take. I don't think that's who they're going to take. I think it's Ousmane. Interesting. Now it's being reported that there might be a trade. There might be a trade. It looks like there might be a trade here. This might end up being different than we expect. But who are they going to take officially? Who is going to end up being there that they might end up trading? So the Knicks at 11. With 11th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Ousmane Dieng out of France and the NBL. And they are trading the pick to OKC, is what it says. So it looks like the Thunder are here at pick 11 to take Ousmane Dieng to go next to Holmgren. They're really going high upside. They are being risky out of the NBL. This is risky. It is. Are they going to go back one spot? I don't know the details yet. It looks like the Knicks could move back one spot, but we have a reported trade. That Ousmane Dieng is going to the Thunder at 11. That's being reported right now, that he's going to go to the Thunder at 11. But I don't know the details yet. Are the Knicks going to get pick 12? It sounds like they're getting a lot of draft capital for multiple first-round picks. Woj is coming on now to explain the trade. Sam Presti's onto something. He's always trying to do something. The 11th pick headed to Oklahoma City. They're trading Ousmane to the Thunder. They're still at 12, though. The Thunder did not trade pick 12. Reportedly, they traded multiple future first-round picks. So the Thunder are now going to have 3 lottery picks with Chet Holmgren, Ousmane Dieng, and whoever they pick at number 12. We are seeing a Sam Presti classic right here. This is a Sam Presti masterclass with Ousmane Dieng off the board to them at 11 and apparently picking again at 12. They have a ton of future draft capital. It doesn't shock me at all that they do something this crazy. This feels like a Knicks move. Do I have to trade it? Nope. Ousmane Dieng for multiple first-round picks is all it says. I don't know exactly what this is going to be, but reportedly right now, the Thunder are still on the clock at 12, which is super interesting because now they have Chet, they have Dieng, and they might have another rookie at number 12, bringing in 3 rookies for this year. Can't doubt the guy on his drafting, though. That's facts. Sam Presti knows what he's doing with trades, with draft picks. He's been really successful with them, and I think he did a lot of different things that make a lot of sense. Chet Holmgren, they're talking to him right now, went number 2 to the Thunder. He seems real happy to be there. I think Chet makes a ton of sense there. So now the Thunder have a core of SGA, Giddey, Chet Holmgren, and Ousmane Dieng out of France, a 6'10 guard. So they now have a 7-foot skinny power forward on top of a 6'10 guard with Giddey as a tall guard there already. Thunder winning the draft so far. I think you could do it. I think you could say that. I think you could. I think this is really interesting for the Thunder, and this is crazy. It is crazy that they're doing this. 2 lottery already with a 3rd on the way. It's crazy. They're taking potential though. A lot of people concerned about Chet Holmgren's ability to last in the NBA because of the weight. He's really skinny at 7 foot, only 195 pounds. That's a fair concern. Ousmane Dieng did struggle in the NBL a little bit. At 6'10" as a guard is obviously kind of a unique player. Ousmane Dieng is out of France in the NBL, but struggled a little bit. So I think the Thunder here have a lot of high risk picks so far with Ousmane Dieng. Okay, well now I know who they're going to pick at 12. But really interesting because it's not going to be AJ Griffin, but it's going to be another shooter. So I won't spoil the pick just yet because, and the 12th pick is not a part of the Knicks trade officially from Adrian Wojnarowski right now. Is Lou Dort in that trade? You have to wonder, because I doubt the Knicks just trade out of this draft and get nothing for it, because that would be catastrophic for the Knicks. If the Knicks just traded out of that pick and don't at least get another pick in this draft or a very good player right now, I think Knicks fans have to riot. That would be horrendous for them. I would be furious if I was a Knicks fan, and I'm definitely very concerned about this trade. If I am a New York Knicks fan, I'm very, kind of shaking right now, worried about what's going on, because to me, that's very concerning. I think you had to keep that pick, at least take somebody there or get a good player back, and it feels like right now they're not getting that, and I think that's concerning. I don't feel good about that at all. If I'm the Knicks. The Knicks have to be very concerned right now. This is not a situation I feel super comfortable with if I'm a Knicks fan, and something that's concerning to me for sure. Chet's up there, and Chet is most looking forward to meeting. He says he's looking forward to meeting all of them. He took the cheap answer out, but it seems like it looks like Jalen Williams is going to be the guy that they're going. At 12, it looks like that's going to be the pick is in. It hasn't been announced yet, but I think it's going to be Jalen Williams at 12. Really interesting for sure. Will be the Thunder's 3rd lottery pick. They have 3 lottery picks so far. It looks like they're more than happy to keep all 3 of them and draft players here. Definitely very interesting. Very interesting for sure. Chet Holmgren also, I think, is going to be really good for the Thunder. I think this makes the Thunder really interesting with 3 potential lottery pick rookies on the team, with Chet, with Ousmane Dieng, and with a guy like who's it going to be? Jalen Williams is my guess. So I think this is really, really interesting for the Thunder to get on a lot of different young guys with SGA already there, Trey Mann, Jeremiah Robinson, Earl, Josh Giddey. They have so many interesting young players that I think the Thunder and Sam Presti are really just an interesting team going forward. Can they continue to improve with all these young guys? Chet Holmgren, I think, is ready to play day one, but is Ousmane Dieng? I don't know if Dieng is the guy that's going to look good day one. Feels like more of a project kind of guy, so this is definitely a funny fit, but I think the Thunder know what they're doing here. I trust Sam Presti. I think he knows what he's doing, and I think he's going to be really successful with his picks, in my opinion. Who's going to be at 12? Who is going at 12? The commissioner coming back up. He's walking up now. With the 12th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara. A little higher than people expected. People thought he'd be a riser, but I don't know if they thought he would rise quite this far. Santa Clara. Jalen Williams goes number 12. This is a little higher than people expected, but Jalen Williams does a lot of different things. He has the ability to shoot the ball, really good shooter, also a good passer as a forward, a guy that can pass really well. Led Santa Clara in assists in 2 different seasons. Averaged over 4 assists a game, 4 rebounds a game. Shot really well as a shooter on top of being a good defender. Has some comparisons to a guy like OG Anunoby with his ability to be a two-way wing that really can do different things for you and should improve year in and year out. OKC in this year's draft now is Chet, Holmgren, Ousmane Dieng, and Jalen Williams. 3 lottery picks. You want to talk about who's best available? Again, we can go back into that. Let me update it first, so then you guys don't have to watch me update it like a dummy. But yes, so Ousmane Dieng is off the board now, and Jalen Williams is now off the board as well. 2 picks to Oklahoma City. Let me get back to my big board here so I can look at this. And this is big. This is really big for Oklahoma City. I think this is huge because they already had a ton of picks, but now to get all these picks as well, I think is huge. 3 first-round picks, 3 lottery picks in this year's draft. I think this is awesome for them, and I think Thunder fans should be super excited about the future for them and very, kind of happy about how it's going. So now, my top 10, my best available. If we're looking at the best available again, it's Jalen Duren at 1, is still the best guy to me, and the Hornets are on the clock, so I assume Jalen Duren is the pick here, just because he's the best pure center in this draft class, and the Hornets have needed a center for a while. So if they can go at 13 and get Jalen Duren, a guy that most people thought would go top 10, so if Jalen Duren is still available for the Hornets here, I think they are jumping up and down with joy. I think the Hornets are super, super excited, should be running this pick in, that they're getting Jalen Duren. AJ Griffin, to me, second best player, really good shooter, has the ability to be a defensive upside guy as well, has some comparisons to Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler type guy, as a really extreme two-way wing, and they could go center at 15 because I don't think the Cavs are probably a threat to go center at 14. I think you're probably right about that. But to me, I'd be worried about the Cavs trading out of the pick. So Jalen Duren to me is just the best player available on top of being a great positional fit. So I wouldn't risk another team trading up and taking Duren when I have a chance to get him at 13. I think makes a ton of sense to me. That's who I would go. I would go Duren just because I would be afraid of the Cavs trading out of the pick. The Cavs themselves obviously are not going to take a center themselves because they are so big already. They don't need to take a center. That doesn't make sense for them, but I don't think they'll trade out of it either. I just don't think they will. Like, they could trade out. I think they could trade out, sorry. But Mark Williams, third best to me, second best center on the board. They're 2 really good centers at this point, so they could go non-center here and then, take whichever of those 2 are available at 15 if you don't see a big drop-off between the 2 there. Malachi Branham, really good scoring wing to me, a really good guard with high upside. Agbaji is more experienced. I don't think he's bad either. Tari Eason, great wing defender. EJ Liddell, kind of shooter-defender type. Ty Washington is a great, backup point guard prospect, but could also be a starting point guard long term. Dealt with some injuries, but a guy that might slip. Blake Wesley is number 9 to me, a guy that's a really great scorer. And then at 10, I have Marjon Beauchamp, really athletic player out of the Ignite. Makes sense why overthink it. I think that's the same thing. I go Jalen Duren at 13, and that's what Shams just tweeted, is that's probably who they're going to go with. And I think that makes a ton of sense. To me, I think that's the no-brainer pick. It's, you're playing a game of risk if you do anything else, and I wouldn't want to risk it if I was Charlotte. So I'm more than happy to do this. I'm more than willing to make this selection and be happy with it. And I think that's who they're going to pick. So I'm really excited about that. I think he's a great fit. They've needed a center for such a long time. Been running guys like Cody Zeller, Bismack Biyombo at center for them. I think getting a guy like Duren, if that's who they pick, is perfect. I think that's really, really perfect. I thought we'd see more trades. I know I was really excited to see some trades tonight, whether it be D'Angelo Russell. DeJounte Murray's a guy that was talked about maybe being traded. John Collins I thought might get traded. There's a lot of guys that had a lot of trade rumors about them, but to this point we haven't seen a ton of trades. We've seen the one trade with the Thunder moving up to get Ousmane Dieng and ensure themselves a third lottery pick in this year's draft, which is crazy in itself. That's very, very crazy to get 3 lottery picks in one draft. I don't know if we've ever really seen anything like that. I know multiple teams have had 2 lottery picks before. I think the Hornets was the last one a little while ago. Maybe that was the Clippers, and then they traded one of the Hornets. But there are teams that have 2 lottery picks. No, the Magic had 2 last year, as did the Warriors. So there are teams that have 2 relatively often, but it's not very often that we see teams have 3 lottery picks. That's very, very uncommon. So for the Thunder to do that, very impressive. But I thought we'd have a little more trade action than that. I thought the Kings were a likely candidate to move their pick. They ended up going fit with Keegan Murray. I think the Blazers were a team that could have moved out. I thought the Pelicans were a team that would have thought about moving out, but neither of them did. We could still see the Hornets trade their second pick, but it feels like they're going to keep this pick here at 13. And to me, I'm going Duren at 15. It just makes too much sense to me to overthink it. Just like Adrian said, why overthink it? I think it just makes too much sense to go Jalen Duren, to go center. I think they need center badly, and I like it a lot. I really do. Oh, no. There is a trade. I've seen it multiple different ways now. I don't know who it's traded to, but there's going to be a trade. It's Jalen Duren, but he will not be a Hornet. Jalen Duren will not be a Hornet. I repeat, Jalen Duren is not a Hornet, but he does go at pick number 13. It's not Houston. I've seen either Knicks or Pistons right now. I don't know which it's going to be, but I've seen both of those. I don't know who it is. I don't know who's trading for this pick yet. I don't want to put it down yet because I don't know who it's going to. Let me wait. I won't put it down yet, guys. I'll wait for it. I'll see who they're trading it to just because I don't know who it's going to. I don't know where Jalen Duren is going. I think the Knicks. I think they're trading him to the Knicks. If they are, I think that's great because I was really worried about the Knicks, kind of trading out and then not taking somebody. So if they do go Knicks, I think that's really interesting. But I'll definitely be, looking for who ended up who the Hornets got for that pick because I don't know what the Knicks really have to offer them. I don't think you're going to give up Julius Randle there unless Gordon Hayward's involved. So this is one that could be really interesting as a trade. But it seems like he is not staying with the Hornets at 13. I don't know who Duren's going to yet. I'll put him down anyway. He is getting traded somewhere. I think it's the Knicks. Woj says Pistons, though. The Pistons doesn't make any sense because they want Ayton. I don't know who on earth Jalen Duren is going to. Let me just say that now. I have no idea where Jalen Duren is going. But it's either the Pistons or the Knicks. It's one of the two. Who really knows? Either Shams is wrong or Woj is wrong because they're reporting different places. So that's very confusing. But at 14, the Cavs are on the clock. I think they go guard to pair next to Darius Garland. To me, it's either A.J. Griffin can play shooting guard for them, Malachi Branham, or Ochai Agbaji. It's one of those 3 guys. And I know who it is. It's going to be Agbaji. It's going to be Agbaji, and I think that's a good fit for them. Is more experienced, and now we're seeing a guy, A.J. Griffin, falling down the board. Is something that we probably didn't really expect, but is slipping down the board. Really, really interesting. Is a guy who's probably the best pure shooter in this draft class. To see him fall because of those injury concerns is disappointing for him, but I think he's a guy that could really prove people wrong and be a great value pick wherever he goes. Yeah, NBA draft trades do always seem to be a mystery, for sure. It's because they're so sudden. Like, they're not always discussed for a long time, so they're kind of thrown together last minute, and at times that causes trades to be kind of clunky, and the reporting on it is usually even clunkier. So that's the biggest problem for me with draft trades. I just don't know where he's going to go yet. It's not going to be the Hornets. It's either the Pistons or the Knicks, but who knows. Tari Eason says Phenomenon Hoops for the Cavs. Is that who you're talking? I don't think Tari Eason makes a ton of sense for the Cavs unless you want to start him at small forward and move Lauri Markkanen to the bench. I think there's a possibility for that, but I do think Ochai Agbaji is probably the pick here for the Cavs. Knicks are trading Kemba Walker to Detroit, so it is the Pistons. It's going to be the Pistons. How is he included? Who is just cap space? What do the Knicks get back? Not the Knicks. What do the Hornets get back is my question. No, it's the Knicks. It is the Knicks. Knicks acquired Jalen Duren and moved him with Kemba Walker to the Pistons. So the Knicks got him first and then moved him to the Pistons. That's mad confusing. That is very confusing, obviously. But we're going to add this here. So he did get moved to the Pistons after initially being traded to the Knicks. Then he was traded to the Pistons. So that's what we got there. A little confusing for sure. But that is what happened. So that's what's going to be there. So Jalen Duren, it looks like, is going to Detroit, as well as the Pistons are getting Kemba. Okay. Let's talk about trades that have went down. The Knicks are trading Kemba Walker to the Pistons. I'm seeing it all over the place, but still, I don't know what that means for me. We're gonna update the trade board though. Knicks trade Usman Zhang to Thunder. The Cavs are picking right now, so we're gonna move back to the board here. The Cleveland Cavaliers select Ochai Agbaji out of Kansas. Good fit next to Darius Garland. I do like this for them. This is one of them that I mocked to them multiple times. I didn't think AJ Griffin would still be on the board, but this is very interesting. The Pistons are sending the Hornets the 2025 first-round pick via Milwaukee in the Duren trade. So basically, through Jeremy Grant, the Pistons ended up getting Jalen Duren, and that's weird because reportedly they wanted DeAndre Ayton. They wanted DeAndre Ayton pretty badly, so that was confusing how that happened. But apparently it did. So Jalen Duren is on his way to Detroit for... it's kind of a clunky trade right now. Hopefully they'll put it up on the board in a second because then I'll be able to communicate it better. But right now it's looking like Jalen Duren was traded from the Hornets to the Knicks, which I don't know what that was for. And then he was traded from the Knicks to the Pistons, as well as Kemba Walker is also going to the Pistons in the deal. So that is something. That is very much something. They are never wrong. Yeah. Moved him with Kemba Walker to the Pistons. Weird. Tough to follow. But it looks like Duren is a Piston. Who does Charlotte get? They still need a center. They still do need a center. Maybe they go Mark Williams here at 15. I don't know what's headed back to them yet. It looked like the pick from 2025 pick from the Bucks that came in the Jeremy Grant trade is going to Charlotte. But again, I don't think that's a very good pick, so I don't understand the whole trade yet. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me. But the Hornets are on the clock at 15. I don't know. The Knicks intend to use the cap space from trading Kemba Walker to aggressively pursue Jalen Brunson this summer. Charlotte's going to go Mark Williams at 15. Okay, that's reported right now. It's not official yet, but it is reported by Shams that they're going to go Mark Williams at 15. how are the draft mocks comparing right now? They're kind of close. I think most of them are pretty close. I think outside of Paolo, most people probably got the top 3 right. It just kind of switched Paolo and Jabari. And then the next few could have been predicted. And then I think, probably something like Sohan shook up the board a little bit. Jalen Williams went a little earlier than people expected. And it's weird that AJ Griffin is still on the board. Also, phenomenon, I do think Tari Eason is a very good fit for the Rockets. I do like that a lot, actually. I think he's a good fit. What does Ben want, bro? I'm live. Are you watching? I am live. I'll get off the draft and text you back. That's fine, sure. I got the draft on my phone. I didn't even know I could do that. I did respond. Can Houston get Griffin? Right now, they need him to get past the Hawks. If the Hawks don't pick Griffin, then Houston could take him. There is the possibility that Houston has the chance at AJ Griffin still, who a lot of people view as a top 10 talent. People are just kind of concerned about injuries. But, to me, I don't know. I think AJ Griffin is a really good fit for a team like Houston. I actually really like that. Adding Jabari Smith and AJ Griffin, I think that is phenomenal shooting-wise. If you can improve your shooting that much by adding AJ Griffin and Jabari Smith, wow. That would be huge for the Rockets. Depends on if he's still on the board. It's going to be up for debate whether he is or not. Oh, I got a text back now. My phone is overheating from keeping this draft on it, but that's fine. That's not a huge deal. So, Detroit. Troy Weaver, the GM for the Detroit Pistons, landed Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren in this draft class. 2 of his top prospects. He really wanted both of them. So, I think that's great. Let me check full details. It looked like Bleacher Report had the full details. So I'll try to look at that right now to give you the full trade details. That's not really full details. They still don't have it really. But I'm sure they'll come out later. But crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Griffin or Branham to Houston would be a win. I agree with you. I think those are both really good fits. I think Tari Eason and EJ Liddell are both good fits for Houston as well. But it looks like Mark Williams is going to go to the Hornets at 15. It's reportedly in. And the commissioner's coming to the stage. With the 15th pick, the Charlotte Hornets select Mark Williams out of Duke. Good fit. I think they really needed a center. It must be they didn't see a big gap between Mark Williams and Jalen Duren. If they were willing to trade Duren at pick 13, then clearly they weren't too concerned about the difference between the two players. They probably viewed Mark Williams as the better center, and that's why they went with him at 15. I'm not surprised by that. I think he's a good fit. 7'2", 9'9" standing reach. I think that's great. Honestly, I think that's really solid, and I think that's going to be great. That's going to be really, really great. 7'2". Will be the highest standing reach in the NBA at 9'9". That's crazy. Bigger than Boban, they said. Higher standing reach than Boban. I think he's a good fit for Charlotte. I really do. I like Mark Williams for them. They needed a center badly. And Shams is reporting that it's likely going to be AJ Griffin at number 16. So, sadly, it looks like Houston is not going to end up getting Griffin, as it looks like the Hawks are probably going to get him at 16. Where did I have Griffin? I had Griffin pretty high. like higher than 16 anyway. I had AJ Griffin as the number 11 prospect. That's where I had Griffin. Griffin was number 11 for me. I was pretty high on him. I think as a shooter is probably the best shooter in the class. A guy that I really like, and I think he should have went higher. I do think that. I gotta update my best players available before I can put that on again. But I think it's going to be AJ Griffin, so I can take him off already. But good draft so far. I'm excited for it. I really enjoy how it's going. 3 guys I got to throw on now. Jovic is now going to be my number 8 out of Serbia. Who's my number 9 again? Okay. So, since it's being... Hey, I appreciate you watching this stream. So, according to Shams, where's my top 10? That's what I wanted. Okay, they're talking about it. The Pistons are getting the Bucks pick in 2025. I still don't understand that because the pick is not good. But this is my top 10 now, with AJ Griffin likely going to the Hawks, reported anyway. My new top 10. Oh, I forgot Agbaji went too. I gotta take Agbaji off. But forget Agbaji for a second. But outside of that, it is Malachi Branham at 1. Agbaji's off. Tari Eason at 2 for me. Now this is a guy that I'm higher on than most people, but my new number 10 is going to be Hugo Bassan out of France. Really confident, dynamic shooter and scorer. A guy that I actually really like. So to me, I have him as a top 10 guy that's left. I think that's a little higher than some other people, but I actually do really like it. So Malachi Branham, scorer, shooter kind of guy with some defensive upside at the number 1 player available. Tari Eason, phenomenal athlete, defender, second on the board. EJ Liddell, shooter, 3-point shooter. Think Matisse Thybulle, who's better at offense, and that's Liddell. Ty at 4. Blake Wesley with a great handle, scoring guard at 5. Marjan Beauchamp out of the Ignite at 6. Nikola Jovic, really, good passer of the basketball as a forward, and with some scoring upside at number 7. Kennedy Chandler, kind of undersized, 6-foot guard, but really quick, shifty, athletic, is a guy at number 8. Jake LaRavia at 9, and then Hugo Bassan at 10 for me is my top 10 right now. I also really like Dalen Terry. I did this big board a couple of weeks ago, actually. So, well, I guess it was like a week ago now. But, so this isn't quite accurate of how I see it right now. But either way, you get the idea. With the 16th pick, the Atlanta Hawks select AJ Griffin out of Duke. You probably won't be able to see that Super Bowl on the screen, but I'll probably block that a little bit. But you can see his name. AJ Griffin there goes to the Hawks at 16. This probably, kind of signals either they want a new shooting guard, they could play him at the 2, or I think more likely they're really interested in trading John Collins and starting DeAndre Hunter at the 4. I think they're going to start DeAndre Hunter at the 4 and move AJ Griffin to the 3. I think that's not bad. Honestly, I really think AJ Griffin is going to be a pretty good fit there with his ability to shoot the ball and play defense. Has a little more offensive upside than a guy like DeAndre Hunter does. So I think the 2 of them together will be a good forward tandem going forward. I think probably John Collins is getting dropped off, so, who knows. I think the Rockets are going to get Tari Eason at 17. It feels like that's who they're going to go with. That's who Shams is saying they're likely going to go, and he's been right about everything else. So I think Tari Eason is probably the pick for the Rockets at 17. Really athletic, physical defender. Yeah, Spida, Donovan Mitchell. He doesn't understand the trade rumors between the Knicks and Pistons and all that stuff either. Branham or Eason, that's a tough one. I think it is a tough one. I think Branham is a guy I really like, a guy that I'm pretty high on, but I do like Ohio State a lot, so that might be biased a little. But is a guy that was initially thought maybe lottery, didn't end up going there. I think Tari Eason, probably the guy at 17. Good luck for the Hawks. They got lucky he dropped that low. I think you're right. I think A.J. Griffin is a guy, to me, that I definitely did not think would be available at pick number 16. So for the Hawks, a guy that I mocked, Jalen Williams, in my last mock draft, I think they actually get a better version of Jalen Williams. A guy that can really shoot the ball, probably not as much of a playmaker as Jalen, but a better shooter, probably has more defensive upside as well. I think the only reason he's here is because of the injuries, but to me, I think A.J. Griffin here is probably a better version of Jalen Williams. So I think the Hawks actually got really lucky here at 16. Lottery pick, but not lottery pay. That's great for them also, is that they don't have to pay him that lottery level money. But still, it's going to be decent money as a first round pick. All first round picks get paid decently. But A.J. Griffin here, a guy that I think makes sense. But Houston got Jabari at power forward. Why Eason? I think the idea is that Woj said that the Houston Rockets have considered Tari Eason the best defender in the draft, with his ability to switch aggressively, to play physical, aggressive defense, and a guy that I think, will be great for you defensively. Also, Tari Eason, with how fast he is, I think Tari Eason can play small forward. I think Jabari is probably going to stay your power forward, but if you really want to, with his athleticism, with his aggressiveness, I think that Tari Eason, sorry, mind fart there. I think that Tari Eason can play small forward for the Rockets, and I think is a guy that potentially can be a smooth fit and kind of like a taller version of Jayshawn Tate. That's a possible replacement there, and I do like the idea of that for them. But that's me. I'm out of water. That is unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. I wish I had more water. But, oh well. That's fine. I'm going to survive. I do have a fan up here, so that's not bad. I was worried about it getting too hot, but I do have the fan. So, I'm excited for that. Good for the Rockets. Pretty good draft so far for them. I think they were, not unlucky that they didn't get Paolo, but the idea that the guy that was going to go number 1, a guy that fell to number 3, I think the Rockets should be more than happy with Jabari Smith Jr. at number 3, and also I like the idea of Tari Eason here at 17. I thought that they would end up trading this pick, was my thought, but maybe they end up moving out of 26. I just don't see them having 3 rookies. They're a young team, they could do it, but I think they have a lot of guys that play minutes for them already. Honestly, I think the Rockets have a lot of playables right now. They have Josh Christopher off the bench. There are a couple other guys off the bench that I think deserve some minutes. Whether, it end up being Jayshawn Tate, I don't know if he'll still be there or not. Usman Garuba, you probably want to develop a little bit, get some more minutes. There are guys there that I think deserve to play, and I think, if you take too many players, you might have a little bit of a problem there. So to me, I'm still probably going to trade the 26th pick, but right now you're probably keeping pick 17 to take an athletic defender in Tari Eason. A guy that does make sense to me, is one of my top 2 players available right now, and not a bad fit at all at number 17. They do need a secondary playmaker. That's true. Maybe at 26 you get a guy that can play make a little bit. That would have been the best thing about Paolo, is that he can play make. Paolo, really good playmaker as a forward. I think that would have been really solid fit-wise with that. But maybe they look to get a backup point guard at 26. Maybe a guy like Ty Washington, Kennedy Chandler, or even a guy like Dalen Terry. I think there are options to get, kind of point guard players at those spots. I think you still have the ability to get point guards, whatever that may be. I think the chance for that is still there. Whew. We are up to almost 1,500 total views, so I'm glad you guys have seemed to enjoy this stream so far. We're up over 2 hours on the stream. The Rockets are on the clock, the pick is in, but the commissioner is not yet at the podium. He's not walking up there yet, but I think he'll be up there soon. Tari Eason seems like the fit here. I'm still expecting some more trades. I think we'll probably have a few here. You know, the Timberwolves rumored to be looking to move D'Lo. Maybe he doesn't get moved tonight. John Collins probably still could get moved tonight, but I don't know if they're really going to do it after they can't trade up. And it looks like Stephen A. reportedly going through it after the Knicks trades because they had Ousmane Dieng, interesting prospect, as well as Jalen Duren, both in their grip, and they traded away both of them. So I think the Knicks fans are probably going through it a little bit right now. Probably don't feel great about the current state of everything that's going on. But the Pistons and Kemba Walker are expected to discuss a buyout, so it looks like Kemba Walker probably won't be there long term either. So there are definitely, some concerns about, how the Knicks draft has went. I think the Knicks draft has been a little confusing, to say the least. I don't really know what they have gotten, really at all. And multiple first-round picks is what I heard. No picks were specified. Also reportedly involved in the Jalen Duren trade, where I don't know what they did except trade away players. I really saw nothing going their way, so I'm a little confused about what's going on there. With the 17th pick, the Houston Rockets select Tari Eason out of LSU, goes number 17. Tari Eason is now off the board to the Houston Rockets at pick 17. Very, very athletic, very physical as a player. Chicago's about to make kind of an upside pick here as well at number 18. A guy that had become higher on throughout the process, but it looks like the Bulls are going to go Dalen Terry out of Arizona as a guard. I think they needed some forward depth, so that's a little confusing. But the Houston Rockets go Tari Eason here. I think a guy that you can play next to Jabari Smith Jr., a guy that's really improved as a jump shooter, went from like a percentage in the 20s to up to like 36% from three in his sophomore year. So Tari Eason to me has really improved as a player, as a shooter, is super athletic, really great defender and an athletic finisher at the rim. I think this is great. I think they have a ton of upside here with Jalen Green, with KPJ, with Eason, with Sengun, with Jabari Smith. They have a ton of athleticism and a ton of upside. I'm really excited about the Rockets' future here, and I think they've had a pretty good draft so far. I really like both of these guys for them. 80% free throw shooter. That does project as a lot better shooter. 80% from the line for Tari Eason. I think he projects as a good NBA shooter and someone that fans should be excited about. The Bulls here likely going to go Dalen Terry out of Arizona. Kind of a confusing fit with Lonzo Ball already there, with Alex Caruso, with Kobe White, with Zach LaVine. Do the Bulls know that LaVine is leaving already? Are they confident that LaVine is gone? If they're not, then this feels like a real logjam at guard, as well as Javonte Green as well. I think they'll probably try to move Kobe White at some point, but to me, I think this is a little bit of a bad decision by the Bulls to take Dalen Terry here, unless they know something that we don't. 3 to watch: Jay Billis best available, Malachi Branham, Ty Washington, and EJ Liddell. Very good players, for sure. Very good players. Very good players. Almost 1,500 views on the stream, boys. I really appreciate all the support. Hope you guys are enjoying the draft. It's unfortunate I can't just show the draft, or I would, but they're gonna copy strike my channel if I do that, so I cannot do that. But I think this is interesting for sure. I hope you guys are still enjoying. The Bulls pick is in, and they're gonna go to commercial anyway, so we're gonna have to wait. We're going to have to wait. I have no water. I still have no water. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying. I enjoy draft stuff a lot, so it's a little bummer for me that the draft content's about to be over. Also, I have to go back to work soon, so that's a bummer. But, the YouTube stuff is going really well. I'm super glad to have hit 3,000 subscribers less than a month after hitting 1,000. It took me over a year to get to 1,000, and within a month of that, I'm already at 3,000. I really, really appreciate all the support lately from you guys, and I thank you guys so much for watching. It's really been great to have you guys here. I'm probably just going to do the first round tonight, just so you guys know. I might even drop out a little before that, just because I want to watch some a little bit better by myself. I really enjoy, the whole draft stuff and the ability to watch it by myself. So this is a little out of my comfort zone to be watching it with you guys, with 1,500 of you in total. It's a little much for me. I'm really into kind of just absorbing, taking it all in by myself. So this is a little much, but I do always really enjoy the support. So this is big for me. I really appreciate it. All the support lately has been huge. The growth in the channel has been huge, and I'm really excited. I think a lot of these guys are great. If I want to talk about best fits, I think Paolo is a really, really smooth fit at number 1 to the Magic. They needed a primary scorer. I think Jaden Ivey at 5, really good fit as well. A guy that's a really dynamic guard and a great fit next to Cade. I think Shaedon Sharpe of the Blazers is pretty nice, as well as Dyson Daniels to the Pelicans. To me is one I mocked a lot. I really like Dyson Daniels, and I think that is a really smooth fit as well. I think Jalen Duren is a pretty good fit in Detroit. It kind of feels like it takes them out of Ayton chase to me. Like, I don't really think now that feels like they're chasing DeAndre Ayton. So what are they going to do with all this cap space? Do they really think they can get a guy like Zach LaVine, or are they going to chase a guy like Miles Bridges? Which is really, confusing, because Jalen Duren actually came from the Hornets pick. So did the Hornets here kind of lose themselves Miles Bridges through this, kind of string here? I think Ojai Agbaji is really clean. I've mocked that a lot. Mark Williams is a fit I really like as well. And I don't think there are any picks that I think are glaringly bad. I think 11 and 12 for me at the Thunder are both slight reaches, but they're a team that's developing, so I have no real problem with that. I think Jeremy Sohan went a little higher than I would have liked, but I still don't feel too bad about it. Honestly, I don't love the Kings pick at number 4, taking Keegan Murray, just because I think best player available is what you should do. They drafted for fit at number 4, and to me, I don't feel super happy about that if I'm a Kings fan, because I've seen it go poorly for them before when they drafted for fit, specifically with Marvin Bagley III. We'll see if Kai Soto goes first round. I know you guys are really hyped about Kai, but we'll see where he goes. I don't know. I think he goes second round. I really do. But I know a lot of you guys are hoping first round. You're really rooting for that. But who knows where he's going to go. The Bulls pick is in, and the commission's coming up. He's coming up. He's coming up. Cool. The 18th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Dalen Terry out of Arizona. Dalen Terry goes 18. Interesting. The Bulls go guard. Kai Soto, second rounder, undrafted to the Rockets. I don't think the Rockets is a bad fit, because Kai Soto played with Jalen Green before. He seems to have some chemistry with Rockets star Jalen Green, so I think that could be interesting for sure. But Dalen Terry here to the Bulls is really interesting to me, because they have so many guards already, right? Like I was just talking about it. Lonzo Ball, I know he has some knee injury histories, has missed some time lately, really good defender, really improved three-point shooter, playmaker, all those good things. They have Alex Caruso as well, really good defensive guard. They have Kobe White, scoring guard. They have Javonte Green, athletic guard. They have Zach LaVine as well as a, kind of really impressive, improving all-star in Zach LaVine. And it's confusing to me that they're going Dalen Terry because they have so many guards. Are they losing Zach LaVine? Are they trading picks? I think it's confusing. Minnesota will take Jake LaRavia at number 19 and trade him to Memphis, is the report right now. Bulls, Dalen Terry, I know, I just don't love the fit. I don't love it. I don't love the Dalen Terry fit unless they know Zach LaVine is gone. Or unless they're planning on moving, like Lonzo or like, Kobe White. I think Kobe White is probably gone, but I think Dalen Terry is a guy who can, play both guard positions is really interesting. It feels like a pick you take if you think Zach LaVine is gone. That's what it really feels like to me. It does. It seems like this is going to go to the Grizzlies at 19. That's what's reported by Shams anyway, so I'll just put that up right now. Just because I trust Shams reporting. The Timberwolves will land 22 and 29, so the Grizzlies move up here to, to take a guy that they really like must be. Memphis Grizzlies at 19 are going to go Jake LaRavia out of Wake Forest. Really, really interesting because the Grizzlies, to me, it's weird because they moved all those picks. So now Minnesota has 2 picks. They have both 22 and 29. So the Timberwolves now have 22 and 29. The Grizzlies are going to trade up and select Jake LaRavia at pick number 19. Jake LaRavia, great passing forward, really good facilitator, as well as a shooter. Feels like a guy that isn't bad at all. I really like Jake LaRavia. I've mocked him at 19 before, but I assumed the Timberwolves were going to keep it. For the Grizzlies here, who is going to go power forward? Are they going to move Jaren Jackson Jr. to center? I think they could do that. I think they could play Jaren Jackson at center and then move Jake LaRavia to the power forward. You know, they have Desmond Bane, they have Dylan Brooks with whatever they want to do. There's multiple things that they can do there. But now he's announcing it. With the 19th pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves select for the Grizzlies Jake LaRavia out of Wake Forest. So, interesting pick, really interesting pick. A guy that wasn't projected to go this high, even on the season ended, is really a high riser. And then the Timberwolves, to me, they're going to get 2 picks now. Are they going to make another trade? Who knows? But I think Jake LaRavia, interesting fit here as a guy who can pass. I think they wanted to hop the Spurs. I really think they were worried the Spurs would take LaRavia. They took Sohan at 9. They still need a little more playmaking, I think, although Sohan does help with that. I think they need playmaking and shooting. So Jake LaRavia was a candidate to go to San Antonio at 20. So the Grizzlies jump them, get to 19, take LaRavia, give both of their other first-round picks to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves are probably happy to do that. I really do, because they have multiple needs. So this allows them to address multiple needs. Yeah, multiple needs, as well as the Grizzlies here. Get some more playmaking, take some of that responsibility off of Ja, as well as some more shooting, because they have some guys there that aren't phenomenal shooters. So I think getting LaRavia is not a bad fit for the Grizzlies at all, and is definitely one that I actually kind of like for them. At 20, I don't know who the Spurs go. Malachi Branham, to me, is pretty easily the best player on the board, but they already have shooting guards. They have so many shooting guards. They took Primo last year. They have Devin Vassell, Lonnie Walker. I don't love it. I don't love Branham there if I'm them. I just don't think it's a great fit. Sorry, I gotta text my buddy back. I don't know who the best fit for the Spurs is. Ty Washington, not bad either. Ty, pretty good player. They do need some more playmaking after losing Derek White. I think getting a guy like Ty next to what they have already, next to DeJounte Murray, especially if they're planning on moving DeJounte Murray, I don't like it at all. I don't mind it at all is what I meant to say, but I don't think that's bad. I really don't. I don't have any huge problem with it. Tari Eason's off the board. I think E.J. Liddell is a guy who can defend and shoot. Provides you some of the similar things that LaRavia did, so maybe you go Liddell here. I think Liddell might be the front runner, actually. I think it's a little early to me to go Nikola Jovic. So for me, I'm probably looking at guys like Ty Washington and EJ Liddell are probably my two guys that I'm looking at if I'm San Antonio. But there are definitely multiple options that they could end up taking. I just don't know if any of them are great. I don't know if I love any potential guy for San Antonio here. I think probably Liddell is my favorite fit. I don't think Ty's bad either. It's being reported now that they're going to pick Malachi. They just have so many shooting guards. It feels a little clunky because of all the shooting guards there. I think maybe Lonnie Walker's a free agent, actually, so that's not a huge problem. I guess that takes away one of the shooting guards. It looks like they want to play Primo some point guard. But to me, I think Malachi Branham easily the best player here, so I'm not gonna give them a bad grade for it. To me, I'd have to give this like a B plus or something, because again, I don't really like the fit much at all. Like, I'm not a big fan of the fit here for Branham for the Spurs. But to me, he's the best player available. He's a good scorer. They need some more scoring. I think Malachi Branham probably has a higher ceiling than any of the shooting guards they currently have. I don't think Devin Vassell has been consistent enough to be, like, for me to be really confident in what he's going to do for you. I'm not like, wow, Devin Vassell, you know, Josh Primo. I'm not, like, super, you know, high on those guys. So getting Malachi Branham at 20, which is who they're going to take, to me it just feels like not a bad pick, honestly. I don't like the fit still, but to me, best player available, better than anybody they currently have at the position, has upside as a defender, as a shooter, and as a guy that can be a scorer as well. So I think his fit next to DeJounte Murray is actually pretty good if they do end up keeping him. I don't know why they're shopping DeJounte, but, you know, whatever it's going to be, I hope they keep DeJounte because he's their franchise player. But I think Malachi Branham is a good fit next to DeJounte Murray. They got Jeremy Sohan at 9. I thought Branham might go as high as, like, 12. So the idea that you can get Sohan at 9 and then still get Malachi Branham at 20, I think is great value. It's kind of like the Hawks getting AJ Griffin at 16. I thought was phenomenal value. A guy that slipped a little bit, but Malachi Branham slipping down to 20, I think this is great value for the Spurs. Really gives them a guy that I'm pretty high on, is really good as a scorer and a shooter. He's the best available. He's not the best fit, but it's pretty easily, to me, the best available player. So I actually don't mind this at all. Kendrick Perkins is big on Jaden Hardy. He really wants Jaden Hardy to go here. I don't know where Hardy's going to go. I've mocked Jaden Hardy at number 21 to the Nuggets multiple times. I've also mocked Hardy to the Sixers, to the Bucks, and to the Heat. I think are all places he could go. Hardy was the number 2 player in high school behind Chet Holmgren before going to the G League and being kind of inefficient. So I think Jaden Hardy obviously is the guy with really high potential. But Silver announcing it now. With the 20th pick, the San Antonio Spurs select Malachi Branham out of Ohio State. Oh, he said from the Ohio State University. Not a bad fit. Not a bad fit just because I think he's better than all the guards they have. I wouldn't have minded a center, but with the best 2, you know, in Duren and Mark Williams off the board, I think it'd be a little bit of a reach to go like Christian Koloko or Walker Kessler. So maybe they look to do that at 25. They still do have the 25th pick, so they could pretty easily look for a guy like Koloko or Walker Kessler there. Maybe they look Soto either. So the Knicks don't have anyone. The Knicks fans are not happy right now. Knicks fans seem to be kind of in shambles. Knicks fans seem to be very angry, actually. So that's fun. Knicks fans do not feel happy. They're talking about it on the draft cast right now that Malachi Branham is a steal for San Antonio. I think that's true. I think he's a lottery level talent. To get a guy that can break down defenders, can really shoot the ball, and can throw down dunks, I love that. I love that. Good defender as well, I think he's going to be. And is from St. Vincent St. Mary's. So is a guy that, you know, was the first since LeBron, drafted from St. Vincent St. Mary's. So props to Malachi Branham. 83% from the foul line. Wow. Wow, from Malachi Branham. 7-foot wingspan as well. I think he has some good defensive upside. Also being reported right now, the Nuggets are going to go Christian Braun at 21. A little higher than some people expected. I don't think most people expected Christian Braun to go that high, but a guy that I really like. Christian Braun with the ability to finish at the rim, to finish through contact, kind of a streaky shooter, but is one of those guys that gets under the defense's skin, is always talking to you, is going to make sure you know that he's there, and is going to always be talking crap all the time, no matter what. That's just what Christian Braun is. He's a dynamic scorer. I think he's going to improve as a defender. I see some good defensive upside. Reminds me a lot of Alex Caruso as a good finisher, a really good athletic, sneaky athletic guy who can throw down dunks here and there, and a good defender. So I actually really like Christian Braun here at 21. I think it's a little high. There are some other guards that I think are interesting, but Christian Braun here, not a bad spot. You think Malachi is a steal for the Spurs? I agree. That's what the draft cast is talking about right now. They really think he's a steal. They're talking about him being a lottery level talent, and I really think Malachi Branham was. I do think he was a lottery level guy. Really great shooter, 83% from the line. I think 39% from three. Just really fits today's NBA. I think Malachi Branham is a real, kind of current NBA player. Reminds me a lot of Karis LeVert with the kind of handle, offensive package shooting ability. I don't think that's bad. I actually do like that. The Nuggets pick is in already. I know who it's going to be. I know it's Christian Braun. You can follow Shams and Woj on Twitter. They spoil the draft daily. And since I'm not watching the draft here with you guys, I'm watching it. But, I'm getting the news a little early since I don't have it on screen for you guys. I might as well put it up. That's right. That's my thoughts on it. So Christian Braun's going to go 21. Not bad. I think they need a shooting guard long term. Bones Highland has some upside to be their new starting shooting guard, but they bring in some competition with Christian Braun. I really don't love Will Barton as a long-term starting shooting guard for the Denver Nuggets. I think his time in there should be about up. So to me, the starting shooting guard long-term going to be either Bones Highland or Christian Braun, a couple of guys that I think can compete for that spot. Really different skill sets, though. Bones Highland, though, ability to cross people up, take people one-on-one with a street ball-esque handle, a guy that I really like with his handle, but I think Christian Braun as well brings you different things. Not quite as perimeter-oriented, can get really hot from three, but attacks the rim super well, finishes through contact, and is more physical, talks more, feels like a Tyler Hero type guy. I really like Christian Braun. I think there's a good chance that he gets the new starting shooting guard spot over a guy like Bones Highland. And I even really like Bones Highland as like a bench scorer type guy, but I think there is a good chance that Christian Braun for the Nuggets here could be the backup, not even backup, could be the starting shooting guard over Bones Highland. To me, I think Will Barton should be done in that spot. Those two guys, to me, should be competing for it. And I think Christian Braun could take that spot himself. I was hoping for water. I still don't have water. My throat's starting to hurt. I've been talking for a long time. Best available? I can give you the best available. Again, give me a second to work that up, but I can get that to you. There are a couple guys off the board now that have went. Liddell, Ty, Blake, Marjan, Nikola Jovic. Okay. Oh, they're talking about the Thunder Knicks trade is what they're announcing. That's been known for a long time. So, my top 10. Christian Braun was in the stands. I love that. He was there to watch, and now he's going to be able to make his way up. But let's talk about my top 10 right now. It has a couple of international guys that I'm a little higher on than some other people, including Hugo Bassan at 7 and Kai Soto at 9. Two guys that I think are first-round talents. Hugo Bassan, phenomenal scorer and shooter. Kai Soto, 7'3", mobile big. We just don't really see it that much. EJ Liddell, to me, best player on the board at this point. You know, really good defender and shooter. You know, really improved in both those areas. Okay, I know who Minnesota's going as well. But Ty Washington here at number 2 for me. You know, really dynamic guard. Sorry for all the requests, but I'd rather watch you than ESPN. Thank you. I appreciate that. I actually have ESPN in my ear right now, but this is my top 10, not theirs. It's a lot different than their top 10 for sure. But EJ Liddell, to me, best player on the board. Ty, really good scorer as well as passer of the basketball. Blake Wesley, great handle. Marjon Beauchamp, really athletic, finishes through contact. Jovic, good passer. Kennedy Chandler as a kind of undersized guard. Hugo Bassan, great scorer and shooter. One of the best NBL players this year. Jaden Hardy, to me, out of the G League Ignite. I really like Hardy. I think he has really high potential. Kai Soto, to me, at number 9. Again, 7'3", with some shooting potential as a rebounder, defender, rim protector. And Christian Coloco at 10 for me. Another center, but really athletic as a center. Can do a lot of different things for you. I know I'm not moving it down as much. I'm not talking about teams as much as I thought I might. But I think we're doing fine here. I actually don't mind. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, I know who they're going to select as well, but it's going to be Walker Kessler out of Auburn, the second Auburn player selected after Jabari Smith Jr. went number 3. Walker Kessler is going to go number 22 to Minnesota. They've been looking for a center for a while. It's reported that they're in the market for Clint Capella. They've sniffed around on Rudy Gobert because they want to move Cat to power forward, a guy that can really space the floor, shoot the ball, do a lot of different things as a center. Let's go into Minnesota. Minnesota going to take Walker Kessler. Great defender. That's the upside here next to Cat. Cat isn't a very good defender. Great shooter. Good passer as a big man too, as well as a shooter, scorer. Didn't really show up in the playoffs. So I was kind of disappointed with how Cat played. But Walker Kessler averaged like 5 blocks a game this year at Auburn. Also, 19% block percentage is the highest recorded ever. Had one of the best rim protection defensive seasons that we have ever seen in college basketball. The best that we have ever seen, pretty much. Philadelphia is trading the number 23 pick to Memphis for DeAnthony Melton, by the way. So Minnesota is going to have 23. The Sixers are going to get DeAnthony Melton as their new backup point guard. I actually really like that for them. I like that a lot. I do. I'm not even kidding. I love that. I love that for Memphis. I think that's great. What do I have as Memphis's color? I don't even know. I'm going to go with this. Walker Kessler going 22, deserves it. Phenomenal defender. I like it a lot. Grizzlies at 23 here. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. They must really like someone. I wish we kept Melton as a pick back then with the Rockets. Yeah, Melton actually has really improved as a player. Good defender, good three-point shooter. Was a really, really solid backup guard for the Grizzlies and actually looked really good when Ja Morant was out as a starter. Early on in the season, he was putting up like 20 points a game. It was him and Desmond Bane that were both really, really improving and doing a great job. DeAnthony Melton dealt with some injuries. Wasn't quite as good after that, but I think DeAnthony Melton will now be the Sixers' six-man, their backup point guard. I really like him. They have Tyrese Maxey, they have James Harden, and now they can have DeAnthony Melton as their backup point guard. I like this a lot for them, and I think it's good. The Grizzlies going to reach a little bit here at 23. I don't think they had to trade here to do this. I actually don't, but it's being reported that they're going to take David Roddy out of Colorado State. A guy that's not a bad player by any means, but I think he would have been available later. I think you could have traded later to get him, but not a bad player by any means. Kind of a football body. A guy that's built like a football player in David Roddy. A guy that's really physical, can shoot the ball, can do a lot of different things. Full trade details. 76ers received DeAnthony Melton. Grizzlies received David Roddy. So basically they just traded DeAnthony Melton for David Roddy, which I would think Melton would have a little more value, but it does clear them some cap space. So maybe they can re-sign now Tyus Jones. There could be a deeper motivation here for the Grizzlies than anything. I think there could be a deep motivation here to re-sign Tyus Jones and get a first-round pick. So instead of losing Tyus Jones now, they choose to keep Tyus, is my idea, and they end up moving DeAnthony Melton so that they can do that. They're talking about Ben Simmons now. I love Ben Simmons, by the way. But the Sixers are not going to make this pick. It is going to go to Memphis. It seems like they're going to take DeAnthony Melton. Sorry, they're going to take David Roddy. Physical, football player type body. I like David Roddy. I do. I thought he was more of a second-round guy, was my opinion on David Roddy, as well as Walker Kessler. I actually had both of them as second-rounders. And Christian Brown I thought might slip out of the first round, but I wanted Christian Brown to go first because I think he deserves it. But Walker Kessler and David Roddy both going first round here. Guys that teams must value highly. They think that they can be really good players. Walker Kessler, to me, is going to be a really good defensive player from day one, so I like that on the Grizzlies. I think they really need that with Karl-Anthony Towns. But it's really interesting, honestly, because they already have Naz Reid, who's one of the best backup centers in the entire NBA. So the idea of kind of pushing Naz Reid out of the rotation, I don't like that. Walker Kessler, to me, might push Naz Reid out, and maybe they look to trade Naz Reid, maybe they look to do something like that. But to me, Naz Reid, one of the best backup big men in the league. Really good shooter of the basketball, really athletic, smooth, mobile guy as a center that you just don't see super often. David Roddy here at 23 to the Grizzlies now. Originally the 76ers pick. 76ers moved Danny Green and number 23. Okay, Danny Green is also going to Memphis. Is likely gonna miss a large part of next season due to injury. Philadelphia has traded the 23rd pick to the Memphis Grizzlies for DeAnthony Melton. Oh, don't say the pick on the broadcast, bro. They're going to go David Roddy. So they get two players now, David Roddy and Jake LaRavia. Guys that are both forwards, but I think David Roddy can play the 3 and Jake LaRavia can play the 4. So you get two guys that I think can be really big for you. And then the Sixers get DeAnthony Melton as their backup point guard. I like this a lot. I really like that. Undersized big guy, he can shoot it, says Jay Billis. Mountain West Player of the Year. Good conference, actually. It's actually a much improved conference. Definitely a 3-level player. Can shoot it, can attack the rim, can kind of body people in low. Oh, he's about to make it official, but I already know who it's going to be. With the 23rd pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select David Roddy out of Colorado State. Okay. I would assume Colorado State does not have a lot of players drafted. If I had to take a guess, there are not a lot of players drafted out of Colorado State. 5th most points in a season in program history last year. Averaged 19.2 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, and 3 assists. Is a guy that I think does a lot of different things. Athletic, physical, competitive. Just a guy that I think does make sense for the Grizzlies here at 23. It really fits that kind of old grit and grind mentality that the Grizzlies had. I don't know if it's quite the same mentality now as it used to be, but I actually do like it. I think it's not bad at all. I think David Roddy is interesting. I figured they would have spoiled 24 by now. They're a little behind with their others, Usually they're before that. The Bucks are going to be picking at 24. They're about to go to commercial. I don't know what the Bucks should do. The Bucks could go some different avenues, but I think it has to be a guard. I actually think Ty is a really logical fit here. They need a backup point guard. The backup point guard right now is George Hill, who at this point is just past his prime by a lot. Just really not a great NBA player at this point. I don't think George Hill is. So I think they need a backup point guard, but they're running Grayson Allen as their starting 2 guard. So if they can get a guy that they think can be a potential starting 2 guard, I think they should do that too. I think Jaden Hardy's in play. Probably Blake Wesley's in play, as well as a guy like Ty. I think Ty has to be the favorite here. But I think there are multiple options. Oh gosh. I've been live for 2.5 hours. My throat's starting to hurt. Kind of badly, actually. What are your guys' thoughts on the draft so far? I hope you've really enjoyed. I don't think it's bad, actually. I think there haven't been a ton of trades that are like super impactful. Most of them are just kind of moving back, like kind of draft movement more than anything else. And that's fine. That's that's not disinteresting. I still think that's interesting. I do. I like to see movement. I still think movement's interesting. You know, whether big players get moved or anything, I think it's still interesting. I think it has been a good draft. With some surprises. I don't think, you know, all the picks have went exactly how they thought they would. And I think that's the most interesting part to me. At 24 right now, it's also being reported the Bucks are going to take Marjon Beauchamp out of the G League Ignite program. Was actually a community college player coming out of high school before really impressing there, getting an invite to play for the G League Ignite, and then doing a great job there. You know, really continuing to improve his stock throughout his time. Really athletic player, can play the 2 or the 3. So I actually like this for Milwaukee. It kind of feels like they're going to find a starting shooting guard is what they're looking for. A guy that has some comparisons to Kelly Oubre because of the athleticism. You know, not quite as good of a shooter right now. Really needs to improve in that area. But really good finisher at the rim. And as, you know, a attacker of the rim, as well as being just a great athlete. I think he's going to be a good defender as well, especially in the Bucks program. You know, they just do such a great job at developing players, especially on the defensive end. You know, with Drew Holiday, who's already a good defender, but with Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, we've seen phenomenal defenders. Brook Lopez also really improved on that end as a defender. Bobby Portis still coming along, but is also improving on that end. You know, Pat Connaughton has become a really good defender. I think they just do a really good job at creating and developing defense. So I think Beauchamp there can really bring them some defense that they need, and I think that's great. Paolo Banchero at 1, I love that. I told you he was the best player. I told y'all. Also, trust the betters. Always trust the betters. Good draft for the Rockets. Maybe we can get Ty. He only needs to go one more pick. I think there's a decent chance y'all could get Ty if you want him. If he doesn't go there, I think he probably goes to the Heat. The Heat need a backup point guard pretty badly, as do the Warriors. So there's a lot of interest in backup point guards in this area. I think Ty would be a pretty good slot for the Rockets there at 26. 25, the Spurs need some more playmaking too, so I'd be a little concerned they might steal up a guy like Ty away from you guys, but maybe the Spurs end up going center. I think there's a good chance that they end up going center. The Spurs need a center as well, more of a backup center, so they might go Christian Koloko. Maybe they go some of your guys' favorite, go Kai Soto. I don't know if he goes first round, but I think there's some chance of that. Commissioner's up. With the 24th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Milwaukee Bucks select Marjon Beauchamp out of the G League Ignite. Oh, he's crying. He's happy. Marjon is happy. Who wouldn't be? He's going to the Bucks, man. The Bucks are going to be one of the best teams in the league for years. Beauchamp gets to go there, play next to all their stars, and potentially be the starting shooting guard going forward. That is the upside here, is a potential starting shooting guard who is a really great athlete, great finisher at the rim, good, you know, really good person as well as a great athlete. I've heard good things about Beauchamp, and I think that they should be really excited to see him going forward in this program. Crazy journey for Beauchamp, by the way. You know, again, ended up going to community college out of high school. Grew up in Central Washington. Houston need backup center also. Yeah, I could see that too. Maybe Koloko, you guys go for him. Maybe Soto's there as well. But to me, I think the Rockets need a little more playmaking more than anything. So I think Ty's probably the move. So I would probably try to go. He averaged 15 points a game, Beauchamp did in the G League. Great for him. I love to see that. But yeah, I think the Rockets need playmaking as well as the center. So, I think the move is probably Ty if I'm Houston. But obviously, I think guys like Koloko and even Ismail Kamagate probably get some looks as well. But the San Antonio Spurs on the clock at 25. I don't know exactly who they're going to go. To me, Ty or EJ Liddell, best players available. I don't think Liddell's a bad pick for them. I don't think Jovic is bad. Hardy has some upside. There are definitely a lot of players that the Spurs could look at here, and I don't think there's any obvious selection for them. But I'm sure Shams will tweet it out soon who they are selecting. The G League now has 2 players drafted with a potential third first round with Jaden Hardy. I love the G League Ignite. I think it's a great potential path to the NBA draft for future athletes, and I think allows them to get paid good money as well as developing, learning around pros, and just getting the best advice they can on their draft hopes. I think the Ignite is great, and with 2 lottery picks last year, with Kuminga and Jalen Green, now 2 first-round picks this year with a potential third in Hardy. I think the Ignite has really proved itself as a great program for NBA prospects, and hopefully Michael Foster goes second round as well. San Antonio will pick Blake Wesley at number 25 from Shams Charania. I like that for them. I think it's a little confusing, again, because they did go Malachi Branham already, and they have a ton of shooting guards. So the Spurs are basically shooting guard haven right now. They continue to go shooting guards no matter what, even if I don't think it makes the most sense. They will continue to draft shooting guards forever, apparently. Apparently the Spurs want as many shooting guards as possible because you can never have too many. It's confusing. It's confusing. For sure, it's definitely confusing. Also, the biggest one to me that signals something is the Bulls selecting Terry at 18 because they have so many guards. That one still stands out to me. Is Zach LaVine gone? I would be very concerned about Zach LaVine leaving right now if I am a Bulls fan, because they have so many guards. They took Terry to add on top of that. If LaVine is returning, there's really no space for him. If LaVine's gone, there is. I would be concerned there, definitely. But also, if I'm a Spurs fan, I'm still very confused as to why we continue to take shooting guards religiously. Lonnie Walker, Josh Primo, Devin Vassell, Derek White. They are a shooting guard haven. Traded for Josh Richardson as well. It seems like the run on shooting guards for the San Antonio Spurs will never end. The draft picks that New York acquired from OKC in the Ousmane Dieng trade. 2023 from Detroit, 2023 from Washington, 2023 from Denver, all somewhat protected. Definitely interesting. I think the Spurs needed a center, man. I just don't really get the idea to go more shooting guards. I know I'm being kind of negative, kind of pessimistic, even a little tough on the Spurs, but I just think they had the ability to really help the team and get players to fit, and they continue to, for no reason, draft shooting guards without let-up. At least they took Sohan first, not a shooting guard, but a lot of Spurs fans and players out there, people out there would probably argue Sohan was not the best player available. The pick is officially in. With the 25th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Blake Wesley out of Notre Dame. Interesting. What's best for Houston? I think it's either Ty, either Ty or Koloko would be my guess. I would go Ty Washington, I would say, is best for Houston because I think they need playmaking. I think they need playmaking pretty badly. Maybe they end up trading this pick. I feel like they're not gonna. So at this point, I think it's Ty Washington, best player available. If you really want to take an upside swing, I'd say Jaden Hardy. And if you want a center, I say Koloko. But those are the three guys to me I would be looking at. Would be Koloko, Hardy, or Ty Washington. Do not go another forward. You already drafted 2 forwards tonight. If I'm the Rockets, I would be very disappointed if they drafted another forward. I just wouldn't love that. I think EJ Liddell is one of the better players available, and I really like him. But I would not go him if I'm the Rockets, even though I think he's really great, just because they've already drafted 2 forwards. I just don't think that's a great idea. Oh, they're going to take a veteran. They're going to take a veteran. It's being reported from Shams right now. They're going to take either shooting guard or small forward, whichever you want to say. Wendell Moore out of Duke. That's a safe pick. Wendell Moore is a very safe pick at 26. He's a guy that does a lot of things really well. Doesn't do anything phenomenally. Like, there's nothing that I really think he does super well, but just does everything at a pretty good rate. Is a good shooter of the basketball, good defender, good passer, good rebounder. Is a little undersized to be a small forward, so probably a shooting guard, and brings experience to a Rockets team that doesn't have a ton of it. I think it makes sense for them in the idea that they want experience, they want guys that can contribute right now a little more, just because they're already so young. So to get a guy like Wendell Moore in there that can really help now with shooting, with defense, with rebounding, playmaking, I think this is great for them. Honestly, they need playmaking pretty badly. I think playmaking is one of the bigger needs for them, and they can get that here with Wendell Moore. They can get that, and I think that that is something that is, worth noting. Oh, no, they're trading to Minnesota. I was totally wrong. They're going to trade the pick. I know Rockets fans out there. They're out here. They're going to trade the pick. At least Woj says. Woj says Houston is trading Wendell Moore to Dallas. That was originally Dallas's pick. There's no way that's true. Adrian Wojnarowski said Minnesota. We're going to continue to see that. I'm sure they'll talk about it on the broadcast. To trade it to Dallas makes no sense because then you basically got nothing for Christian Wood. So I don't think that makes any sense. If I want to trade it to Minnesota, that's fine. But I'm a little confused on why you would trade it to Dallas. I just don't think the idea of that makes any sense. I think trading to Dallas would be dumb. I think that would be dumb. The pick is in, it says, though. But I don't know. They need to get Woj back on to tell me exactly what's going down. Talking about Sohan. I don't mind Sohan. I think he has some potential, but it's just a little bit of a reach at number 9 for San Antonio, in my opinion, but not a bad player at all. Not a bad player. The most confusing picks. Let's talk about some of the most confusing picks. I talked about some of my favorite fits. Confusing. Number 4, Sacramento going Keegan Murray. I actually think this is a good fit. I just don't like the idea of leaving Jaden Ivey on the board. Jeremy Sohan, also a little confusing to me at number 9, just because I think it's a little early. We have another trade to announce. They're talking about the Hornets. They traded Duren to the Knicks. Oh, we already know that. With the 26th pick. This is going to Minnesota. The Dallas Mavericks select Wendell Moore. It's going to go to Minnesota. That's what's being reported right now, is that this is going to go to Minnesota. Let me try to adjust this. It's being reported this is Minnesota. Traded to Minnesota. I like him better for Minnesota than I do for Houston, if I'm going to be honest. I don't know what's going back to Houston here, but as of right now, he's going to Minnesota at pick number 26, Wendell Moore. A guy that does so many different things. I think the Timberwolves need some guys off the bench that can do a bunch of different things for them, whether it be shooting, passing. I think they definitely need more playmaking, rebounding, and just be a solid defender. I think that he is kind of like a do-it-all guy for the Timberwolves. That is 4 first-round picks out of Duke in the first round. They are one shy of the record. If Trevor Keels goes in the next 4 picks, they will tie the draft record with Kentucky in 2010. Crazy. Duke had a good team. They went to the Final Four. They were very good this year, and they had a lot of good players. The Miami Heat are going at 27. I don't know exactly what the Heat do here. I think they need backup point guard still, so I think Ty makes some sense. But getting another scorer, whether it be Hardy, or I don't even know the other shooting guards on the board still because Blake Wesley actually went. So, I mean, there's some other guys here. Maybe they end up going like Kennedy Chandler or Ty Washington. Andrew Nembhard is there. Bryce McGowan's maybe, but there are definitely options they have and different things they could do. I don't know what's going back to Houston yet. I'll have to make sure I check in on that. I don't know if I'm going to do a draft grades video tomorrow still. I'm thinking about doing a draft grades video tomorrow. I think that wouldn't be a bad idea just because I think, that everybody loves draft grades. But I'm a little worried that video won't do well. So I don't know for sure if I'm going to do that or if it'll be like a trade rumor video. At some point, I'm going to talk about interesting players for each Summer League team with the Summer League coming up soon. So I'm going to be talking about that. A lot of you really like Kai Soto, so I might make a video talking about which team he ends up going to, just because I think a lot of people will be interested in that. So. Oh, Miami on the clock. They're taking some time. They have a lot of options. I don't think there's any clear-cut guy for Miami to go here. So they're looking at a lot of different things. They're taking some time on the clock, a little more than I would like. I'd like to see them make the pick. But interesting for sure. Been live for almost 3 hours, by the way, boys. Long time. Long time. First round isn't even over yet. Again, like I said earlier, I'm probably only going to stream the first round just because, I'm getting a little tired. On top of my voice is dying. So I'm probably going to finish this after the first round. And, maybe I'll make a video recapping the second round. But I'm not going to be live for it, more likely than not. Liddell wouldn't be bad here either. Oh, Aaron Judge, walk-off. Love that. He swung on 3. Oh, what a psycho. It's tough. I don't know who they'll go here. Oh, wow. Miami reportedly will pick Nikola Jovic at pick number 27. Wow. Nikola Jovic out of Serbia. Great passer with some scoring upside. Could be a good NBA scorer, but as of right now is more of a passer than anything else. As a 6'10 guy who I think is really interesting. Jaden Hardy still hasn't went. He should go soon. I really think he should, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Oof. Can't wear headphones for that long. It's starting to hurt my ear, but we're going to be fine. We're going to power through. 3 picks left. 3 picks left. We're on 18 viewers. It's been as low as 14 was the lowest. But we've also been as high as about 50. So total views now, we're sitting at almost 1,800. So I really appreciate all the support. That's great. I'm glad you guys are happy to watch. That does mean a lot to me, always. I appreciate anyone who wants to support the channel. Over 3,000 subscribers, by the way, now. Means a ton to me. It means the world. I never thought I would hit that. Never. I was so worried that I wouldn't hit 1,000. Took 3 months off during the winter. I just kind of didn't think it was going to work. But I came back to it and was really successful, and I really appreciate all the support. It means a ton to me, honestly. But the money's coming in now, so hopefully maybe I can get a better camera. Maybe like a sound effects kind of thing. There are definitely different things I could do to kind of improve the content. Maybe work on some editing. But as of right now, I'm just really appreciative for all the support that I've gotten. They're taking forever to announce picks, bro. But the commissioner's now walking up for the Heat pick. He takes his sweet old time. He's another trade to announce. Let's talk about the 76ers trade. Cool. Miami Heat select Nikola Jovic out of Serbia. Just started too. Hopefully your channel will reach your success soon. Hey, I love to see new people trying to go out and start up for themselves. I really like to see people come on and try to do their own work, try to talk about the NBA, talk about basketball. I think there's always more basketball to be talked about, so I love to see people trying to get in on it and trying to work at it, because for me, I was just a college kid with not a lot of time, with too much time, with not a lot to do, with a lot of time, sorry, phone's going off, with a lot of time and a passion for basketball. All my friends kind of got a little tired of me talking about it, so I could talk about it on here and people would enjoy it. And people really have, and I'm just really thankful. I graduated from a high school class of 13. Yeah, 13. So to reach 3,000 subscribers is unfathomable to me. I'm from a small town. The college I go to only has about 1,000 students. I mean, just 3,000 people is an unfathomable amount to me, and I'm so happy to have more success. I'm glad you enjoy the content, bro. I enjoy making it. I really do. It always makes me happy to be able to do it. Also, should be able to get one of those new Xboxes, so that's sick. I can get a new Xbox with some of the money. Right now I'm going to be making about $800 a month. I can't disclose it exactly, but it's somewhere in that ballpark, and I'm happy about it. So the Warriors on the clock, the NBA champs. Oh, that earbud's starting to hurt. Ooh. Splash Brothers are born. They're out here talking about the Warriors nonstop and the Warriors dynasty. If the Warriors can get Ty here at 28, that is a steal. Jaden Hardy also on the board. Multiple guys that are very interesting and are slipping. Guys that would be great value here at 28. And I think the Warriors should be super hyped that guys like this are on the board. Well, I don't think Jovic is going to be better than Jokic just because Jokic two-time MVP. Jovic out here going at 27. I just doubt he's probably going to be that level of guy. I don't think they're super similar either. I think he's actually kind of similar to a a guy like Danilo Gallinari is my comp for Nikola Jovic. You know, a guy that can space the floor, shoot the ball, make some plays for others, but not be a very good defender. Also, being reported now that the Golden State Warriors are going to take Patrick Baldwin. This is a swing here because a guy that was initially thought of as a potential top 10 pick heading into the year ends up going to Milwaukee, kind of, you know, mid-major college, a team that wasn't, you know, all that good, and then he played poorly, honestly. Patrick Baldwin there was not good, dealt with some injuries, but even when he played, he just wasn't that good. Maybe just Serbian, yeah. Well, they're both Serbian, and their names are only one letter apart, so a lot of people make the comparison, as well as both being tall and good passers. So I think you can see the comparison there. I'm not going to give you a hard time for it. I think you can see it. But Baldwin goes at 28, looked really slow at the combine, had one of the worst verticals in combine history, but has some ability to shoot the ball, space the floor, comparisons to Michael Porter Jr., but I just don't see it. To me, Patrick Baldwin is not a first-round talent, and I'm just not super happy about that pick if I'm Golden State. But it is clearly an upside pick because the guy was at one point thought of as a top 10 player. So, I mean, I can't blame people for it. I can't blame Golden State for taking him, and they want to take an upside swing. But personally, if I was going to swing for upside at a pick like 28, I would have went Jaden Hardy, but it's definitely interesting. I don't know if 29 here is going to Houston, by the way. Like, Minnesota picked at 26. Like, that was originally Houston's pick, was traded to Minnesota. So I actually don't know what Houston got. Maybe 29 is going to Houston. I don't know for sure. It might still be Minnesota. Who knows? They're talking. They're about to bring them up. Yeah, they do have the luxury to sign with the G League, you're right. With the 28th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors select Patrick Baldwin out of Milwaukee. Yeah, they can leave him in the G League for a while. They can definitely do that if they want. They've done that with other players. They've sent Poole down there. I know both Kuminga and Moody spent some time down there this year. Moody was phenomenal down there, by the way. It looked really, really solid. So maybe Patrick Baldwin can really improve in the G League as well. They just need to do more things. Houston will pick Ty Washington at pick 29. I love that. Warriors are good drafters for sure, so I can't hold that against them too hard. The 29th pick is traded to the Houston Rockets, is who this pick is going to be made by. So I do like that. And they are going to take Ty, which I think is perfect. I think that's a great fit. I really do. I like the idea of going Ty here, and that's who they're going to go with. So they're going to go with Ty Washington with their third pick of this first round out of the University of Kentucky. So Ty Washington going to go to the Houston Rockets. Sorry, I didn't even edit the name. That's on me. But this is the Houston Rockets. Get Ty Washington to maybe be a potential long-term starting point guard, but right now, at least, it's a backup point guard. Phenomenal pick for the Rockets. I really like this a lot, actually. I think this is great for them. I think getting Ty to be a facilitator. The big thing with Paolo originally in all the mocks, like Paolo's going to go to the Rockets, whatever, people loved it because Paolo was also, on top of being a good scorer, was a great playmaker, could really pass the ball, and to get Ty, arguably the best playmaker in this draft class at the point guard spot, was a lot of people's, point guard 2 behind Dyson Daniels, because to me, Ivy's a shooting guard. So to get that guy at pick number 29, I think is an absolute steal for the Rockets, and I think they're having a good draft for sure. With Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, and Ty Washington, I think the Rockets are having a good draft and something that they can be happy about. For sure. We are almost to the last pick of the the last pick of the first round, in which I will call it a day because we've been live for over 3 hours. So I'm more than happy to almost be done. But again, I appreciate all the support as we wind down to the last pick of the first round, which will be made by the Denver Nuggets unless they trade the pick. Almost there, bro. I know. Almost there. But We've had, pretty much at least over 20 viewers the whole time. Most of it we are over 30, so I can't complain. There's plenty of people enjoying. A lot of people are tuning in and seemingly enjoying the draft content, the draft coverage. So I can't complain about the support. I can't complain about anything like that. I can only be very thankful for how well it's went and that it's almost over. So then I will go to the store, get some ice cream, get some soda, come back home, watch the second round, and then go to bed. That is my plan for the rest of the night, and it is going to be a good one. Also haven't peed in 3 hours, so I got that going. But ready for the first round to be over. Almost there. But again, appreciate all the support today. Really great. Really, really great. I know Utility Sports probably doing a little better than me out here, but oh well. I like his content a lot too, to be honest. I actually really like Utility Sports, and I think they're someone that deserves a lot more respect than what they get. So I'm not going to hate them because I think they make good content. So I don't see him live. I thought I would have just saw him. It actually doesn't save their live. Oh yeah, they are 149 watching compared to my 20. But they're definitely bigger than I am. I have some more consistent viewers. But Utility Sports, great channel. I recommend checking them out if you guys are interested in my content because it's pretty similar. So looking forward to second round, waiting for Kai. I might have a video on that. When it happens, I might make a video just talking about Kai's fit on the team that drafts him. I'm excited for that. The Miami Heat did a hell of a job, and they're only picking the first round. I don't hate it. I don't hate Jovic. I just think he's a little overrated, if I want to say that. I'm not super high on a lot of international prospects in this year's draft. I actually really like Hugo Bassan. I like Hugo Bassan and Kai Soto. I think that's not bad at all. I actually kind of like it. Weird Rockets, Mavs, Timberwolves trade. But I like both of those guys. I don't think Jovic is phenomenal, but I think he has some potential. I just am worried about the no defense is my biggest problem. With the 29th pick in the 2022 NBA draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Ty Washington. This pick will go to Houston. I really hope Jaden Hardy goes first round. He's been sitting there up close with a chance to walk on the stage. I know it would mean the world to him. I really think Hardy should go first round. I really hope he does. Was second in his high school class. Really deserves it, and he will not go. It will be Peyton Watson out of UCLA. A guy that a lot of people called a sleeper pick that will go higher than people expect, and that is what is going to happen. He's going to go... I spelled his name wrong. Peyton Watson out of UCLA will go number 30 with the last pick in the first round. Only averaged 3 points a game in college, not a lot of minutes, but was also ranked really highly out of high school. I just don't see the reason not to go Hardy then if you're high on Peyton Watson. I think, Hardy was ranked higher in high school. Even though Peyton Watson was ranked high, Hardy was higher. He's a little more athletic, I think. And, even though, he got more minutes and didn't perform super well in the G League, Peyton Watson couldn't even really play at UCLA. So I think that's tough. Kai Soto predictions undrafted. What happens next for him then? I think if Kai Soto goes undrafted, like right now, this is the end of the first round, he could still go second round. But if Kai Soto goes undrafted, I think he will for sure get at least signed on to a summer league team. I think he'll go on to at least some summer league team because, it won't matter. I think he does belong in the NBA. If he doesn't get drafted, he will get a chance to show himself in the summer league. There's almost no chance he doesn't at least get that. So I think he has a lot of potential. Again, 7'3" big man that can potentially space the floor. I like that. And again, I think Hardy should have went at 30. But boys, thank you for watching. Almost 1850 views. I really appreciate all the support throughout this draft stream. But I'm not going to be streaming the second round. I'm actually only going to be streaming the first. I'm going to call it a night. Watch the second round by myself. My voice is kind of going out, as well as just have a good time. So I really appreciate all you guys for watching. I'm really thankful that you guys could enjoy the content. Hopefully you did. Hopefully, it seemed like a lot of you really did. So I appreciate the support. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for 3,000 subscribers, and I hope you have a good night. But that is going to be it for me. Peace.